divine chariot transformed into a streak of light, vanishing into the clouds. The East Sea Dragon Palace, an ancient and forbidden sanctuary, had thrived 1,000,000 years ago, commanding countless sea soldiers and generals, ruling over 1/5 of the East Sea. Legends spoke of dragon-like beings within the palace, leaving behind numerous divine treasures. Today, with an emperor in attendance, the objective was to breach the palace's barriers and seize its treasures. This commotion reverberated throughout the East Sea, drawing countless marine clans to witness the spectacle. Outside the Dragon Palace, a dense throng of shrimp soldiers and crab generals filled the waters, sealing off the area completely. In the core of the location, two towering figures sat in the void, their gazes fixed upon the tightly shut gates of the palace. A majestic dragon with 9 heads raised its enormous visage and addressed the shadowy figure beside it. Howling Sky Wolf God, you better keep your word. Within the Dragon Palace, it is certain that the true Dragon God's treasure lies concealed. If you assist me in acquiring this divine relic, I shall lead my kin to the Nether Mountain. United in anticipation of the impending calamity. As the dark figure dissipated, revealing its true form, it became apparent that it was a fearsome giant wolf, adorned with 32 pairs of fleshly wings and crowned with 3 thunderous horns. With a casual wave of his hand, he chuckled, "Fear not, my brother Jiao. For I bring with me the equipment of the Sword Emperor. With this artifact, no secret realm will remain inaccessible. Simply await the outcome." The Sword Emperor's belongings. Jiao Huang was taken aback, inquiring, how did the Nether Mountain acquire such items? The Howling Wolf God cast a wary glance in his direction and replied, "That is not for you to concern yourself with. Just remember, the future trends shall align with the Nether Mountain." Observing the nonchalant demeanor of the Howling Wolf God, Jiao Huang felt a deep unease within. He had inadvertently trespassed into the North Sea, pursued relentlessly by the Kunping Emperor for countless miles, losing 8 of his heads and having his lifelong cultivation obliterated. Now, his powers had plummeted, leaving him in a feeble state at the initial stage of the Emperor realm. With the Eastern Sea Dragon Palace about to emerge and rumors of the true Dragon God's treasure circulating, he sought to seize this opportunity to gamble for greatness. Once I acquire the true Dragon God's treasure and awaken the blood of the true dragon within me, how could the Kunping Emperor possibly rival my might? Jiao Huang huffed heavily, focusing his attention on the grand entrance of the Dragon Palace. Beside him, the Howling Wolf God cast a sidelong glance at Jiao Huang, his expression dripping with disdain. Internally, he scoffed, "What a fool. The Kunping has long since reached the pinnacle of the Ascension realm. Were it not for the constraints of the earthly environment, he would have ascended to immortality by now. Not to mention, he wields an unparalleled divine weapon. Even if you don the skin of a true dragon, you would still be but a mere trifle in his presence." Yet, he quickly shifted his thoughts. Practicality prevails. I've heard tales of an ancient teleportation array nearby that has long been lost, capable of leading directly to the fringes of the North Sea. When you fools venture in and meet your demise, providing ample energy to the array, I shall traverse the cosmos to the 3,000 states and reclaim my other true form. Achieving fusion and breaking through to supremacy is the paramount concern. The Howling Wolf God reclined, propping his leg casually, indulging in daydreams. Alas, I wonder how my other true form fares over there. That lad has likely ascended to emperor status, enjoying the finest delicacies in hiding. I shall reunite with you soon. Chapter 245. The Dragon Palace opens beneath the depths of the Eastern Sea. Thousands of fathoms below, the majestic and resplendent Dragon Palace stood proudly upon the seabed mountains, exuding grandeur. This treasure palace was nourished by a dragon vein that ceaselessly delivered dragon chi from below. Constructed from various gemstones, the palace radiated with layers of vibrant colors, enriched by the dragon chi. At this moment, the vicinity was teeming with numerous cultivators, drawn from various esteemed lineages of the Eastern Sea. They had long awaited the opening of this ancient legacy, and, upon receiving news of the Dragon Palace's imminent emergence, flocked to join the excitement. "Wolf God, it is time for us to ascend," declared Jiao Huang, raising his enormous paw and stepping heavily forward. Towering at a height of 10,000 zhang, he moved through the depths like a colossal mountain, each step causing the very volcanoes beneath him to tremble and collapse. With a low growl, the Dragon Emperor unleashed an overwhelming imperial aura that spread across the sea, causing the entire expanse of water to bubble with fervor. The gathered sea cultivators were gripped by a wave of terror, an unending dread that surged within them, compelling many to kneel. It felt as if their very bloodlines were being suppressed by an unseen force. "What is this?" With the Dragon Emperor's roar, "My blood feels as though it is on the verge of freezing," exclaimed a cultivator resembling a crab. The 9-headed dragon, descended from the ancient royal lineage, is said to possess the blood of true dragons within. This is an unparalleled suppression for us sea dwellers. Another cultivator elucidated. The true dragon, revered as the sovereign of the heavens and the monarch of the seas, is one of the most noble races from antiquity. Most of the descendants from that era are but slaves to the true dragons, their bloodlines forever influenced by the might of these majestic beings. Those without matters to attend to disperse. With the passage of the Dragon Emperor, All sea creatures scattered like the receding tide. The howling sky wolf god followed leisurely, cradling a precious box in his hands. Upon reaching the dragon palace, he raised his palm, conjuring a golden sphere of light. A manifestation of the dragon energy gathered from beneath. Much diminished. In this case, the power of the restrictions must be significantly weaker than it was a million years ago. As he spoke, he extended his enormous black claw and struck forward with a mighty blow. Bang! A thunderous explosion reverberated through the depths of the sea as the wolf god slammed his palm against the gates of the dragon palace. Boom! The palace trembled violently, shattering numerous mountains behind it into fine powder, even causing the tectonic plates to crack open. In an instant, the surrounding barriers were activated, the city walls erupting with blinding brilliance as a killing formation emerged, unleashing countless beams of divine light in all directions. A chilling intent of death enveloped the ocean floor, and in that moment, countless sea cultivators felt a shiver run down their spines, as if plunging into the abyss of mortality. Retreat! Amidst the chaos, a commanding voice rang out as a cultivator realized he had drawn too close, but it was all too late. The myriad beams of divine light transformed into lethal sword strikes, piercing through the foreheads of those within range, resulting in instantaneous death. Tens of thousands of sea cultivators fell in an instant, their blood rapidly seeping into the seabed, nourishing the subterranean dragon veins and revitalizing the dragon palace. In the midst of the turmoil, the howling sky wolf god leisurely opened the box he held, retrieving a short sword to brandish before him. Instantly, a torrent of sword intent radiated outward, accompanied by deafening roars that effortlessly countered the incoming lethal strikes. Is this the treasure of the Sword Emperor you mentioned? The Dragon Emperor exclaimed, his eyes widening in astonishment at the short sword clutched by the wolf god. Such a treasure surely transcends ordinary imperial weapons. Approaching the realm of celestial artifacts, the wolf god grinned with pride. Indeed, this is a dire short sword forged by the master craftsman of the underworld mountain, utilizing the sword essence of the Sword Emperor as its core. When this weapon emerges, all killing devices and barriers shall be shattered. The Dragon Emperor swallowed hard, retracting his fervent gaze. He inwardly mused, indeed, the Mingshan is a treasure trove. Even the relics of the Sword Emperor can be acquired here. How extraordinary! As he observed the rustic demeanor of the Jiao Emperor, a sense of superiority surged within him. He hummed a jaunty tune, striding confidently towards the dragon palace. Short sword in hand, his colossal wolf form trampled upon the mountains, causing a cacophony of disturbance, amplifying the force of the barriers surrounding the area. Confronted with the divine radiance capable of severely wounding even an emperor, the howling wolf god merely waved his short blade, effortlessly repelling all incoming assaults. Nothing too formidable. That old Sword Emperor is indeed impressive, with a sword spirit so potent within him. I wonder how that lad who delivered the intelligence to Mingshan is faring. What was his name again? Duguyan? He should have ascended to emperorship by now, I presume. Next time we launch an attack on the 3,000 states, I shall enlist him as an insider. Wait, what was that other thought? Oh, it slips my mind. The wolf god shook his head, striving to maintain clarity of thought. After dividing a portion of his essence, both his memory and spirit were somewhat diminished. Presently, he had lost fragments of his recollection and found himself occasionally spiraling into delirium and chaotic musings. I must swiftly locate the other half of my being. If this continues, the emperor may succumb to senility. Steadying his resolve, he approached the entrance of the dragon palace. Open! With his short sword raised, he executed a forward strike, unleashing a silver streak of sword light that cleaved the palace doors in twain, causing the protections to shatter. With a thunderous roar, the entire dragon palace began to tremble violently. The towering walls crumbled, sending clouds of dust into the air. Yet, amidst the debris, divine light burst forth, accompanied by a rich fragrance that wafted through the atmosphere. This unusual occurrence captivated all cultivators in the vicinity. As the dust settled, they beheld a sight beyond imagination. Mountains of heavenly materials and treasures lay scattered everywhere. The entire maritime expanse was illuminated by the radiance of these precious artifacts, banishing the once desolate and dark seabed, replaced now by a resplendent treasury. The howling wolf god cast but a cursory glance at the treasures before striding into the depths of the dragon palace. Observing this scene from a distance, the sea tribe cultivators froze in disbelief. How could the emperor regard this mound of treasures with such disdain, akin to mere refuse? Yet, in an instant, their hearts began to stir with excitement. The emperor's indifference towards these treasures signified an opportunity for them. All of you follow me. An elderly sea tribe leader cast aside his cane, moving with surprising agility as he dashed towards the treasures. In that moment, his aching back and legs were invigorated. Even his hips felt liberated. The wolf god looked disdainfully at the sea creatures scavenging for treasures outside, remarking, "Scramble all you want. Not a single one of you will survive." These primitive marine beings were not half as clever as the humans of the 3,000 states. The Jiao Emperor stepped forward, exhilarated, exclaiming, "I sense the presence of true dragons, so potent. Let us proceed." The wolf god advanced with purpose into the depths of the dragon palace, the Jiao Emperor following closely behind. Unbeknownst to them, a figure shrouded in a white veil stood afar, a woman clad in azure, her entire being pulsating with chaotic energy. Concealed by the imperial treasure, she trailed behind the two great emperors, plotting in silence. Chapter 246, The Corpse of the Celestial Dragon. The chaotic divine source as the howling sky wolf god and the Jiao Emperor ventured deeper, the enigmatic veil of the Eastern Sea Dragon Palace gradually unraveled. After traversing 1,000 miles, they finally reached the heart of the Dragon Palace. It was an expanse of unparalleled vastness, surrounded by sacred mountains formed from resplendent crystalline stones. At the center of this arena lay a colossal teleportation array, above which hovered a platform enveloped in chaotic mist. The essence of the true dragon lingered there. Unable to resist temptation, the Jiao Emperor stepped forward, swinging his head and exhaling waves of searing breath in an attempt to disperse the chaotic fog. Yet, the mist seemed to cling obstinately to the platform, unaffected by the scorching dragon breath. From a distance, the howling sky wolf god chuckled, taunting, "Your cultivation has waned. Your strength diminished, and you still call yourself the nine-headed Jiao Emperor? Stand aside. Allow this emperor to take charge." At these words, the Jiao Emperor's brows furrowed. Faced with the wolf god's derision and mockery, he found himself at a loss. Once I acquire the true dragon's divine treasure and awaken its essence, we shall see who dares show me disrespect. The Jiao Emperor turned his head away, swallowing his pride. Indeed, what was the point of engaging in a contest with a mere wolf? The nine-headed Jiao dragon was beyond the comparison of the wolf clan. Once his injuries healed and his supreme form returned, what could a mere wolf emperor do to him? Perhaps, in that future, the wolf god would have to kneel and apologize to him, cackling to himself. Suddenly, a short sword whizzed through the air, its sharp sound cleaving the void and splitting the chaotic mist in two. Instantly, the scene atop the platform was unveiled. There lay a colossal dragon corpse, devoid of life. Coiled upon the platform, more majestic than a mountain, its golden scales still shimmered, exuding a profound aura of immortality. Not only the Jiao Emperor, but even the howling sky wolf god was taken aback. "This is a corpse of a celestial dragon," the wolf god exclaimed, unable to contain his astonishment. In a realm where no celestial beings existed, anything associated with the divine was revered as a treasure by the emperors, let alone a complete celestial corpse. Wait, there's more. The wolf god halted the Jiao Emperor, gazing toward the platform. Before the dragon corpse, there stood a towering chaotic divine source. And to the astonishment of both emperors, it appeared to harbor a living entity within. The wolf god stepped forward, activating his divine sight to peer into the depths of the chaotic source. There, a young girl lay in slumber, adorned with crimson dragon horns, golden hair, and emerald eyes. Curled within the divine source, drawing in the life essence from below. Undoubtedly, this was a living true dragon. The blood within the Jiao Emperor surged with fervor. A living member of the true dragon lineage, seemingly still unascended to emperorhood, setting aside the thought of devouring her. If he could engage in dual cultivation with this true dragon, the power of the true dragon within him would undoubtedly surge significantly. He eagerly stepped forward, extending a massive hand to seize the chaotic abyss for himself. However, the wolf god swiftly swatted away the Jiao Emperor's claw. "Wolf god, what is your intent? Did we not come to an agreement? Are you now having second thoughts?" The Jiao Emperor cast a cold glance at the obstructing Jiao Emperor and inquired impolitely. The howling sky wolf god waved his hand and replied with a smile. "This entity is of utmost significance. A living true dragon may very well unlock the mysteries of the ancient immortals. I suggest we first transport it back to the Underworld Mountain for further handling. Of course, Brother Jiao, you may join me at the Underworld Mountain, and the various emperors there shall certainly share this dragon's corpse with you. You are being excessively overbearing." The Jiao Emperor raised his enormous head, panting heavily. His entire being radiated a surge of divine power, as if ready to strike at any moment. The howling sky wolf god stood there, casually fiddling with the short sword in his hand, stating indifferently, "Brother Jiao, you must think this through. Engaging with me signifies enmity with the Underworld Mountain." Yet, the divine energy emanating from the Jiao Emperor continued to swell, unabated. This was a living true dragon, immensely valuable to him, perhaps even a means to leap across the Dragon Gate and evolve towards an innate being. The tension between the two emperors escalated. A moment ago, they had been conversing amicably, now on the brink of a life-and-death battle. Suddenly, a light tremor reverberated through the void, followed by a swift gust of wind. A graceful figure zipped past, extending a colossal hand of chaos, seizing the chaotic divine source, and then rapidly ascended towards the ocean surface. "Not good." The howling sky wolf god exclaimed in alarm, having been too preoccupied with posturing to notice the approaching presence. "I dare anyone to try." The Jiao Emperor lifted his head and roared, causing mountains to tremble, and underwater volcanoes within a radius of hundreds of thousands of miles erupted simultaneously. Scalding magma surged forth, threatening to engulf the ocean floor. The Jiao Emperor raised his massive claw and swiped towards the direction the woman had fled, feeling the overwhelming force. Qingqing's bones felt as if they would shatter. Even the formidable chaos body found it difficult to withstand the pressure from the emperor. Yet, She refused to relinquish the divine source in her possession. This chaotic divine source held great significance for her and could not be easily discarded. Ding! An ancient bronze lotus lamp emerged from the void, radiating resplendent brilliance. This was the treasure lamp that Ji Xian had refined for her. Imbued with a trace of his imperial intent. Boom! The Jiao Emperor's punch collided with the divine radiance of the lotus lamp, shattering the surrounding void and causing torrents of seawater to flood into the desolate area. The Jiao Emperor cried out in agony, staring at his mangled claw in shock. Observing the woman's cultivation, she was merely at the Saint King realm. How could she withstand the force of his heavy punch? You fool, stop dawdling. She is about to escape. The howling sky wolf god rushed forward, brandishing his short knife and lunging ahead. Roar! The deafening roar of a tiger echoed once more, as the icy short knife sliced through the air, unleashing beams of divine light. Qingqing had no choice but to summon the treasure lamp again. But Ji Xian's imperial intent had already dissipated, and with a mere glance, the short knife sent the lamp flying. Return the true dragon. The Jiao Emperor strode forward, disregarding his bloodied claw, and exhaled a scorching dragon breath. In an instant, the short knife and dragon breath encircled Qingqing, seeking to subdue her within their confines. Suddenly, with a violent churn, the sea roiled as a white divine chariot burst forth from the depths. 8 golden Shilants, their vitality soaring, galloped forth, scattering the oncoming dragon's breath. Their iron hooves pounding as they plunged into the ocean's abyss. A figure clad in white materialized, effortlessly halting the swift advance of a short blade with an outstretched hand. Gripping the weapon firmly, Ji Xian gazed at the towering wolf deity below, a faint frown creasing his brow. Why did this wolf demon seem so familiar? Beside him, Qingqing descended onto the divine chariot, spitting out a mouthful of black blood and kneeling before Ji Xian. I apologize, master, she uttered. Ji Xian waved his hand dismissively. It's of no consequence. You performed admirably. Go tend to your wounds. Qingqing removed her veil, wiping the blood from her lips, and nodded in acquiescence. This scene left the howling sky wolf god in a state of shock. Why did this woman's visage seem so recognizable? He recalled the green lamp he had once refined, seemingly lost in the expanse of the 3,000 states. In an instant, a piercing pain shot through his head as a torrent of memories surged into the wolf god's mind. How could she be the deity of that green lamp? Shouldn't she be under the dominion of another manifestation of myself? As he observed Qingqing's respectful demeanor towards Ji Xian, the howling sky wolf god's thoughts raced. His other form had encountered peril. With this realization, he strode forward, demanding, "Who are you? And what have you done to my other form?" "Oh, so it is you," Ji Xian replied, his brow arching in feigned enlightenment. He then reached backward, retrieving a small black dog that appeared in his grasp, its mouth moving incessantly. Though its words were indistinct, Ji Xian chuckled. "Are you referring to this one?" Chapter 247. Reservation for the canine position beneath the waves. The howling sky wolf god stared in disbelief at the small black dog in Ji Xian's hands. After several confirmations, he realized it was indeed his other form. What in the world was happening? How could a pure-blood demon wolf transform into a mere, powerless puppy? The wolf god glanced down at his own muscular physique. Strong and imposing, utterly incompatible with the little dog. He glared fiercely at Ji Xian, bellowing, "What have you, despicable human, done to my other form?" Ji Xian smiled. "If you no longer require your eyes, you may donate them to others. Can't you see it has already become a pet dog?" He even shook the howling sky dog in his hand while speaking. "Damn it, Ji Xian, don't go too far. If you have the audacity, let me merge with my other form." The howling sky dog growled fiercely, straining to bite Ji Xian's wrist. With a crack, the sound of shattering bones echoed as a thin layer of golden armor manifested around Ji Xian's body, instantly breaking the dog's sharp teeth. "What is your flesh made of?" the howling sky dog exclaimed, astonished as it touched its shattered fangs. Meanwhile, the howling sky wolf god's heart bled at the sight of his noble form's plight, now being tormented by a lowly human. An emperor must not be insulted. "Human, do you dare to engage me in battle for 300 rounds? I shall personally reclaim my true form and rend you asunder." The dark mane of the howling sky wolf danced wildly in the ocean, its entire being bursting forth with a tremendous surge of vitality. Crimson light swirling and dyeing the waters red. In its frenzy, it had lost all semblance of reason. The little black dog was composed of its very flesh and blood, and with each wound it suffered, a faint echo of pain resonated within. "How dare you? What is there to fear?" Ji Xian said with a smile, advancing with confidence. Witnessing this, the howling sky hound urgently bellowed to its other half, "Body 2, are you daft? Hurry up and flee, or it will be too late." The howling sky wolf shook its head and replied, "Body 1, do not fear, I shall come to your rescue. Once we unite, we shall attain supreme power and eliminate him." With that declaration, it moved its immense form toward Ji Xian. The howling sky hound fell silent, reflecting on how its internal functions had been divided upon their separation. Thus, memories, emotions, and strength were all apportioned between the two forms. Gazing at this foolish counterpart, it couldn't help but wonder if it had forfeited all its intelligence. The creature before it was no majestic wolf god, but rather a foolish hound, No, a foolish wolf. Despair washed over it. At this rate, it would soon find itself with an additional canine sibling. Meanwhile, as Ji Xian and the wolf god braced for battle, the Dragon Emperor began to retreat slowly. His golden eyes scanned the surroundings like arrows, discerning every detail. He sensed the immense power emanating from this newly appeared human. And with his current grievously wounded state, engaging in combat would yield no favorable outcome. He resolved to bide his time. Next, the Dragon Emperor turned his gaze toward the distant figure of Qingqing, who was recuperating. The true dragon was in her grasp, and if he launched a surprise attack, leveraging his speed in the water, he might just capture her. Once successful, he would swiftly retreat to a safe place to heal before returning to settle the score with the Howling Sky Wolf God. Resolute in his plan, the Dragon Emperor covertly diminished his form to a mere 10 feet, cloaked his presence, and concealed himself within the depths of an underwater mountain. Ahead, the imperial might of Ji Xian and the wolf god clashed with a resounding force. The overwhelming imperial aura surged like an undersea torrent, scattering the surrounding mountains to dust. A brilliant golden light erupted from Ji Xian's brow, momentarily suppressing the wolf god's might. With hands clasped behind his back, his long hair billowing, he scrutinized the wolf god before jesting. Well, not bad. A robust physique, sapphire-like blue eyes, and a striking black and white coat. You would look better as a dog than that one. At this, the wolf god erupted in fury, its walnut-sized brain completely overwhelmed by rage. It charged forward, intent on crushing the insignificant human beneath its massive foot. With a thunderous crash, the wolf god's enormous foot shattered the seabed, and the mountaintop where Ji Xian stood plunged deep into the earth. He twisted his foot repeatedly, intent on crushing the humanoid into fragments, ensuring they would never rise again. As he sensed the vanishing essence beneath his foot, the wolf god grinned widely, remarking with disdain, "Humph, I thought you were formidable, yet with a single step, you have vanished, nothing more than." Suddenly, a radiant golden mist erupted beneath him, and the wolf god felt a solid object stirring at the center of his soul. Then, with a thunderous crash, an immense force surged from his foot, causing the surrounding waters to swirl violently, and a dozen white, circular ripples radiated outward from the epicenter. Accompanying this was a searing pain akin to being sliced by a blade. In an instant, the wolf god's paw shattered into bloody, mangled flesh, his bones reduced to powder, mingling with the spilt blood. Roar! The colossal frame lost its balance, toppling backward. The wolf god bared his teeth, despite his formidable physique. He had not anticipated such a breach in his defenses. He stared in terror at the approaching figure of the humanoid clad in white. What manner of being is this? Ji Xian descended slowly, his white garments unfurling gracefully in the water, dancing as if he were a celestial being gracing the earth with his divine presence. Good little pup. Guard the doorway for this Emperor's Dao sect, he proclaimed with a radiant smile, yet in the eyes of the wolf god, he appeared as a terrifying demon. Just as Ji Xian intended to subdue the wolf god with the same method, a flash of azure light darted from behind, racing towards the direction of the fearless divine chariot. Oh, attempting a sneak attack beneath my very nose. Ji Xian instantly sensed the disturbance from behind. Meanwhile, the Dragon Emperor propelled his speed to its zenith, momentarily aligning with the flow of time itself. The surrounding waters surged rapidly, yet to him, they transformed into droplets splashing and freezing midair. The light speed is one of my race's innate talents. When fully unleashed, it rivals the very essence of time. This true dragon was determined to claim victory. He reveled in his superiority, shifting his gaze toward Ji Xian and the wolf god. Indeed, the movements of the man and beast appeared to slow, even coming to a standstill. Wretched humanoids, let you and the wolf god exhaust yourselves. Once I recover, you shall pay dearly. Suddenly, he sensed an anomaly. No, how could this be? The Dragon Emperor fell silent, fear gripping him as he gazed at the distant figure clad in white. In the relative stillness of time, Ji Xian had become rigid. His face turned to gaze down upon the wolf god. Yet, his multicolored pupils followed the Dragon Emperor's advance, fixated upon him. Chapter 248. The water droplet slays the Dragon Emperor. The Dragon Emperor, racing at breakneck speed, was utterly astonished. The white-clad humanoid's thoughts had kept pace with his light speed. Humph, what of it if your thoughts keep up? You still cannot thwart me. The grand scheme is already set. The true dragon was his to claim. The Dragon Emperor concentrated deeply, aiming toward the direction of Qingqing, extending a colossal dragon claw. In the stillness of the ocean's depths, a great dragon materialized, its titanic form manifesting as it exerted all its might to seize the chaotic divine source containing the true dragon. Success! The Dragon Emperor chuckled coldly, ensnaring the entire white divine chariot within his grasp. He felt the overwhelming essence of the true dragon and chaotic energy in the palm of his hand, each possessing the potential to benefit him for a lifetime. With a swift motion, the dragon sovereign aimed to crush the divine chariot and extract the source of chaos. Yet, to his astonishment, no matter how forcefully he exerted himself, the white divine chariot remained utterly immovable, emanating an ethereal aura that steadfastly protected those within its vicinity. This chariot was no ordinary object. The dragon sovereign realized this immediately. Despite his physical prowess capable of shattering immense celestial bodies, he found himself powerless against this chariot. Then I shall take you along. The dragon sovereign transformed his claw strikes into an encaging grasp, his massive talons striking the ground. And with a powerful flap of his mighty wings, he attempted to seize the divine chariot. Suddenly, a melodious male voice rang in his ears. How does the saying go? The greed of man leads to the serpent swallowing an elephant? The dragon sovereign's expression shifted dramatically as he turned towards the source of the voice, and indeed, there stood the figure clad in white. In the distance, the wolf god maintained an unsteady stance, as though about to topple. How could this be? The dragon sovereign was taken aback. He sensed no fluctuations of temporal energy from this individual. How could he transcend the moment he had created? Ji Xian, aware of his confusion, let the golden Taiji circle manifest behind him. The golden Taiji circle loomed behind Ji Xian, exuding a majestic aura amidst dispersing mist, resembling an illusory gateway to the divine realm, gently revolving. In the depths of his heart, the dragon sovereign felt a chill. He had unexpectedly encountered a supreme being of the human race. Observing the unpredictable nature of Ji Xian's Taiji domain, suffused with chaotic energy and teeming with myriad pathways, he realized that his moment had likely been unraveled. He ceased his actions, inhaled deeply, recognizing his inferiority, and bowed his head before Ji Xian. Might the human supreme allow me to escape? I am the leader of the East Sea Dragon clan, commanding millions, and possess over a dozen immortal herbs. Ji Xian waved his hand, interrupting the dragon sovereign's plea. You speak too much. At the shores of the unfixed divine sea, the Kunping Emperor bestowed kindness upon me. His enemies are my enemies, and today you shall perish. With that, Ji Xian raised his hand, a droplet of golden water coalescing at his fingertips. You are of the Kunping. The dragon sovereign's heart trembled, realizing why the Kunping Emperor had previously spared him. He had foreseen that someone would come to end his life. Die. Ji Xian calmly uttered 2 words, and the droplet of water shot forth, trailing a luminous tail for miles. I am of an ancient race. No one can kill me. The dragon sovereign was now thoroughly alarmed. Faced with the supreme strike, he had no choice but to muster all his strength. He concentrated his entire being into his head, gathering divine flames, and unleashing a torrent of dragon breath forward. The searing dragon breath erupted like a terrifying pillar of magma, instantly vaporizing swathes of frigid seawater. With that one strike, the surrounding space began to collapse, as molten rock surged forth from the ocean floor, filling the sea. Yet the droplet of golden water in Ji Xian's hand flew forth leisurely, disintegrating into ash upon contact with any flame. Die. The dragon emperor raised his head, intensifying the flames and exerting all his strength to suppress downward. The searing flames were gradually eroded by the droplets of water, and the once raging dragon's breath dimmed at a discernible pace, on the brink of extinguishment. Flash! Ji Xian commanded sharply, and the droplets transformed from their calm state into a golden arrow, swiftly piercing through the dragon emperor's brow. With a cry of despair, the dragon emperor struggled for a moment before his golden pupils gradually dulled, devoid of life. So feeble, utterly uninteresting, Ji Xian waved his hand, shattering the surrounding space-time confinement, restoring the external realm to its former state. Hundreds of underwater volcanoes erupted violently, spewing forth magma, and under the resulting shockwave, countless sea-dwelling cultivators perished. The clash of the 2 emperors transpired in the blink of an eye. Ah, the pain! It hurt so much. The howling sky wolf god lamented, collapsing onto his back with a heavy thud. His massive form had crushed an entire underwater plateau into a basin. In the fierce battle between emperors, the underwater landscape was being incessantly rewritten. The fearless divine chariot radiated celestial light, steadying itself, while the individuals inside, including Sun Hua and others, remained blissfully unaware of the external chaos, continuing their cultivation in peace. Only the howling sky dog sensed the disturbance. Perched atop a small hill, he watched the 9-headed dragon emperor slowly fall, a chill coursing down his spine. What had just transpired remained unclear to him, but he could glean some understanding from the lifeless body of the dragon emperor. The dragon emperor had perished in an instant, even without closing his eyes. This Ji Xian has grown even stronger, thought the howling sky dog, pondering whether he could withstand even 3 exchanges against Ji Xian, even if he merged with another body to attain the supreme position. After all, he had only been an emperor for a few hundred years. Suddenly, he felt that his prospects in the underworld mountain were bleak. Perhaps I should consider a change of allegiance? The howling sky dog mused, prodding his chin. Ji Xian's astounding performance and the establishment of an eternal power with several emperors were indicative of immense potential, rivaling that of the underworld mountain in the future. Damn it! Have I become accustomed to being a dog? How could I entertain such base thoughts? He slapped himself twice, striving to remain alert. His growth to this point was entirely due to the nurturing of the underworld mountain. How could he betray them? Though they practiced the demonic path, they held deep loyalty and righteousness. Ah, but the provisions from the Dao sect are indeed quite good. What am I even thinking? He began to slap himself again. Meanwhile, Ji Xian descended slowly, approaching the howling sky wolf god and standing atop his snout. Human, what do you want? The wolf god felt a twinge of panic. realizing that his proud physique had been breached. Ji Xian smiled warmly and replied, "Nothing much, just want you to be my dog." Chapter 249. From today onward, you shall be called Erha. The wolf god gazed at Ji Xian in terror, his mind racing back to the appearance of another body. Originally, the meaning behind the command to run quickly was precisely this. He came back to his senses, drawing in a sharp breath. As the illustrious lord of the ninth palace of the underworld, how could he possibly resign himself to being a mere hound for another? The dignity of an emperor must not be tarnished. The wolf god immediately resolved that even if he were to be torn to shreds today, he would not yield. Yet, it was clear that he was no match for the white-clad figure before him. It seemed that a battle of wits was in order. He chuckled to himself, contemplating whether he should feign submission to distract his adversary, and when the guard was lowered, strike with the short blade of the sword emperor for a fatal blow. Indeed, I am quite the genius. The howling sky wolf god smirked inwardly. He then turned his gaze to the figure of Ji Xian, standing before him, and began to flatter. "O great emperor of humanity, your splendor is unmatched, and it is an honor for me to be your servant. Please, instruct me on what you require." Heh. Observing the foolish demeanor of the howling sky wolf god, Ji Xian could not suppress a chuckle, realizing the wolf god was concocting some mischief. However, he feigned surprise and inquired, "Oh, you have agreed so readily? Surely, you won't resist any further? That dragon emperor is simply too weak. I have yet to warm up." The wolf god awkwardly chuckled. "No more resistance, I cannot flee today. Everything is at your command." "Very well," Ji Xian nodded. "Simply accept my slave seal." As he spoke, a golden figure emerged from his brow, hands forming seals, and blossoms of lotus flowers materialized. As a slave seal began to take shape, observing the golden figure, the wolf god felt a chill. "Ha, you fool. You've relaxed your guard so quickly and even released your essence. You are courting death. Now, lie still and do not resist. Relax, it won't be painful," Ji Xian instructed. The slave seal took form and flew towards the wolf god, and at that moment, Ji Xian opened the seal on his brow, intending to return the golden figure. Now is the time. The wolf god's eyes suddenly sparkled, as if countless stars were flickering. He unleashed his imperial-grade mental power. Instantly, a silver short blade materialized out of thin air, slicing through the air with a whoosh. This weapon, forged from the sword spirit of the Sword Emperor, had long surpassed the realm of ordinary imperial weapons, subtly evolving towards that of an immortal artifact. In terms of both speed and power, it was among the pinnacle of existence across the realms. The short blade was unleashed with the swiftness of a falling meteor, stirring the waters as it lunged towards Ji Xian's brow. In that fleeting moment, Ji Xian's expression turned to one of astonishment, his body frozen in shock. Clearly taken aback. "Haha, I have succeeded." The wolf god reveled in Ji Xian's reaction, thinking to himself that with his cleverness, he could easily toy with such a lower race as humanity. Yet, in the next instant, just as the blade was mere feet from Ji Xian's brow, a peculiar smirk crept across Ji Xian's lips. Then, an unknown force intercepted the short blade, slowing its velocity. With a resounding clang, Ji Xian pinched the blade between his fingers. Boom. Though the blade was halted, the force it carried obliterated a plateau behind Ji Xian, reducing it to mere flatland. Rocks flew through the air, the earth was annihilated, and this strike claimed the lives of countless beings. This was the power of time. The wolf god was taken aback, as he discerned Ji Xian's tactics with clarity. In that fleeting moment, time within a radius of about 10 feet around him had inexplicably come to a standstill. The blade swept through, the fierce wind swirling, as Ji Xian's black hair danced with the flow of water. He toyed with the short dagger in his hand and remarked, "I have long heard that the Mingshan acquired the source, soul, and spirit of the Sword Emperor. Now, I behold it for myself. The celestial-grade sword spirit has been refined by you inept fools into an imperial weapon. What a waste." The wolf god felt a profound shock within, as he barely managed to block with 2 fingers. Ji Xian sheathed the dagger and strode toward the wolf god's brow. Stretching languidly, he said, "Well then, I shall play no longer today. Don't come any closer." The wolf god bellowed, swinging his massive claw toward Ji Xian's nose. Thud! Before the claw could descend, it was severed by a sudden spatial rift that appeared. Another claw followed suit, but the golden Tai Chi circle gently quivered and reduced it to mere powder. The wolf god broke out in a cold sweat. His colossal form produced enough perspiration to fill a lake. Ji Xian landed on the wolf god's brow and gently pressed down. Boom! A resounding explosion echoed. The enormous head, akin to a star, shattered instantly, its skull exploding as foul brain matter and scorching divine blood gushed forth, evaporating vast swathes of seawater. A violet spirit fire surged forth, attempting to escape amidst the chaos. "You shall not elude me," Ji Xian declared, stepping forward with strides that could traverse thousands of miles. He manifested a golden hand that reached out, causing a thunderous rumble, as if it were imprisoning the weight of 10,000 mountains. The seawater boiled, and the wolf god's spirit fire was inevitably drawn back. "Ah, it hurts. It hurts terribly." The pain from the remnants of his physical body had yet to fade, and the visage of the spirit fire was grotesque, letting out a series of anguished cries. Ji Xian paid no heed to the cacophony, with a wave of his hand. The ethereal image of the 10,000 divine trees appeared behind him. Between the branches and leaves, starry realms were nurtured, with billions of stars swirling in unison. The richness of the transformative power cascaded down like the light of celestial beings, engulfing the world. The struggling wolf god suddenly sensed his strength waning. Reluctantly, he exclaimed, "Ah, how can you treat an emperor in such a manner?" A phantom of a blood wolf gradually materialized, the wolf god's dharma form, as he prepared for one final struggle. Yet all his roars were in vain. Upon the emergence of the 10,000 divine trees, even the great paths must yield, let alone a mere imperial dharma form. Bang! The void trembled, the blood wolf phantom dissipated, and Ji Xian mercilessly annihilated the wolf god as physical form. Through the evolution of transformative power, a new body was gradually taking shape. Ah, damn you. No. The wolf goddess screams echoed endlessly. In the distance, the howling sky dog, unable to endure the horrific sight, quickly turned away. Damn it, this is so humiliating. After a long while, the radiant light faded, revealing a new body that shed its vibrant hues to gradually manifest. Observing its form, it was evidently a dog. Perhaps due to its elevated cultivation, it was significantly larger than the howling sky dog, resembling a breed of large canine. The emperor, in a state of emotional turmoil, found himself weeping uncontrollably, his consciousness clouded. Ji Xian observed this spectacle with satisfaction, nodding in acknowledgement, just as I anticipated. The wolf-like figure, adorned with black and white fur and gem-like blue eyes, coupled with its somewhat foolish demeanor, earned the name Erha from that day forth. Chapter 250. Brothers in canine form. Time passed, though it felt indeterminate, before Erha gradually regained consciousness. Before him stood a majestic white, divine chariot suspended in midair. In the distance, the colossal corpse of the Flood Dragon Emperor lay sprawled, dwarfing entire mountain ranges. Ji Xian and his companions stood before the fallen creature, seemingly engaged in deliberation. Erha shook his head, attempting to clear his mind. Something felt amiss. The divine chariot appeared disproportionately large. Initially, it had seemed no larger than an ant, yet now wait. Erha suddenly perceived the peculiarities surrounding him. Everything had magnified exponentially. The grass, it wasn't that they had grown, but rather, he had diminished in size. He lifted a paw and struck his thigh, only to be met with the sight of a furry dog paw. How could the emperor have transformed into this? Bewildered, he patted himself down, only to discover that his once mighty muscles and numerous pairs of wings had vanished. No, this cannot be right. He rose and made his way toward an underwater lake. Gazing at the foolish reflection staring back at him, Erha was utterly stunned. The ferocious visage he once possessed had now morphed into that of a dog. Being a dog was one thing, but to appear so foolish. Suddenly, a realization struck him. His diminutive form implied something dire. He hastily looked down. Indeed, it was true. No. His brother. In times past, they had faced trials together, indulging in life's pleasures with ease. Who could have foreseen this? A mournful howl echoed from the lakeshore, mingled with sorrow and defiance. The howling wolf turned its gaze toward that direction, sighing deeply. I warned you to flee, but you did not listen. And now you wail foolishly. The intelligence of wolves is inherently high, a natural advantage. Yet, once the essence is split, all that intellect seems to converge upon me. Meanwhile, Erha noticed the lamenting howls of the celestial howler, his eyes lighting up as if he had glimpsed hope. The original body. Noting that Ji Xian had not restrained him, Erha dashed toward the celestial howler. Original body. Come, let us merge. With our union, we can attain the supreme position and revert to our former selves. The celestial howler shook his head, saying, do not exhaust yourself in vain. Ji Xian has surely sealed your powers as well. Try for yourself if you do not believe me. Indeed. Erha's face flushed as he found himself unable to summon even a trace of divine power. This is it. We are doomed. Are we to remain mere dogs beside Ji Xian for eternity? Erha collapsed to the ground, tongue lolling out, his expression dimmed, engulfed in despair. Suddenly, a long-forgotten ancient technique flickered through his astute mind, one associated with the fusion of the original body. Original body number 1. I possess an ancient method that allows for fusion without the need to summon divine power. The excited husky exclaimed. What technique is that? The howling skyhound asked, filled with skepticism. Let us engage in a physical fusion, communicating with the essence within us. Perhaps we might succeed. The husky replied. Wait. Are you suggesting? The howling skyhound seemed to grasp his meaning, gasping in shock. This seems rather implausible. The husky shook his head solemnly, stating, this is our only option. Otherwise, we shall live our lives as dogs. I'm coming. Don't move. The howling skyhound exclaimed in alarm, bolting away. Yet, his short legs could not outrun the husky, who swiftly pinned him to the ground with a paw. Trembling, he uttered, you can't be serious. We're both grown men. The husky replied, fear not. For the grand plan of our return to the mountain of the dead, this minor sacrifice is inconsequential. The impending battle loomed large. Original body number 2. How dare you oppose me? By the heavens, original body number 1. Do you dare bite me? That would be biting yourself. Get away from me. A sudden flurry of activity erupted. Meanwhile, Ji Xian and his companions gazed up at the colossal corpse of the Dragon Emperor, their expressions grave. The atmosphere was laden with seriousness. Words eluded them, yet their consciousnesses seemed to engage in a fierce struggle. This was a silent battle, with Ji Xian, Qingqing, Sun Huang, and the old sea turtle all involved. For a time, the outcome was indeterminate. Finally, the old sea turtle stepped forward, breaking the impasse. He bowed slightly to Ji Xian and said, "Esteemed elder, I still believe that stir-frying is more appropriate. As a creature of the sea, the Dragon Emperor carries a strong fishy odor, and stir-frying would better eliminate that scent, making it more palatable." Ji Xian nodded, turning to the other two, and inquired, "What do you both think?" Qingqing stepped forward and bowed to Ji Xian. "Master, I maintain that braising is more suitable. The Dragon Emperor is an ancient relic, and having reached the Imperial realm, every inch of his flesh is a treasure. Stir-frying may eliminate the odor but would result in the loss of much of the meat's essence, thereby diminishing its nourishing effects. Braising, on the other hand, employs a double pot method that allows for the maximum concentration of his flesh's essence, making it more beneficial for absorption." Ji Xian found her reasoning compelling and expressed his agreement. Now, they faced two options, braising and stir-frying, each with its own advantages and disadvantages. Should they sacrifice flavor for enhanced effects, or vice versa? Ji Xian found himself at an impasse, desiring both enjoyment and efficacy from the meal. He turned his gaze to Sun Huang and asked, "What about you, Huang?" Sun Huang, feeling uneasy in the presence of such a massive piece of meat, was conflicted. He was accustomed to a vegetarian diet and had no intention of participating, yet the allure of the emperor's flesh was undeniable, even tempting him to partake. After much contemplation, he suggested, "Why don't we make a soup? I believe that would be best." The three turned their attention toward this idea, in unison asking, "What do you mean by that?" Sun Huang replied, "When making soup, the essence that seeps out will remain in the water. After we finish the meat, we can still savor the soup, ensuring that the essence does not go to waste. Moreover, using water can dilute the fishy taste of the sea creatures, achieving a harmonious balance." Ji Xian glanced at Sun Huang with mild surprise, not expecting this young man to possess such talent. "A splendid idea. Let us proceed as Huang suggests." Qingqing and the old sea turtle nodded in agreement, and once Ji Xian spoke, they felt it inappropriate to add further comments. Old Sun, we'll prepare the pot and start the fire," Sun Huang declared as he carried the large pot away. Meanwhile, Ji Xian took the chaotic divine source from Qingqing and attempted to awaken the true dragon within. Chapter 251, Aou in Ji Xian's palm. The chaotic divine source floated weightily. This was a source stone formed from the essence of chaos, imbued with the vitality of existence. After all these years, it still radiated a crystalline, boundless light, akin to a beacon. It truly contained a real dragon. Ji Xian, with his divine sight, penetrated the chaotic divine source and beheld a creature curled within. It appeared to be a girl of about 15 or 16 years, sporting red dragon horns that glimmered like translucent agate. Her long golden hair cascaded down her waist like a flowing waterfall, and her features were strikingly beautiful, though her skin was pale, devoid of any color. The splendid purple silk garment enveloped her form, revealing only her head. The girl's vitality had not been extinguished. She had merely sealed herself away. Ji Xian surmised that the ancient celestial realm was incompatible with the laws of this world, and should a being emerge without self-sealing, it could hasten the decay of both body and soul. With a decisive gesture, Ji Xian pointed, causing hundreds of fissures to appear on the surface of the chaotic divine source. In an instant, dense chaotic mist surged forth, enveloping the realm. Qingqing, witnessing this scene, felt as if her heart were being cut. This was a sacred object of immense benefit to her. "Master is being wasteful," she muttered, but ultimately stifled her words. Ji Xian smiled gently, having sensed her thoughts. He extended his hand, and a small spirit-gathering array materialized, enveloping the surrounding chaotic essence. The divine source towered hundreds of feet high. Under Ji Xian's manipulation, it gradually shattered, pieces of the divine source cascading down. As the majority of the divine source was stripped away, a transformation occurred. The princess of the true dragon clan exhibited faint black lines across her fair visage. Her skin rapidly filled with a darkened substance. The laws of heaven and earth seemed to repel her. Ji Xian observed the increasingly darkened divine source in his palm and began to comprehend certain truths. The old sea turtle beside him was filled with anxiety. After so long, they had finally reunited with the princess. After a moment of contemplation, Ji Xian spread his fingers wide, allowing streams of water to flow through the gaps. As time passed, the thin streams transformed into towering waves. These waves coalesced into a massive water sphere, encasing the divine source, and after a compression, formed a delicate water curtain to protect it. "This should suffice," Ji Xian nodded. He commanded the river of swordsmanship, essentially governing a small fragment of the heavenly laws, enabling the ancient celestial beings to temporarily adapt to this realm. The old sea turtle felt a weight lift from his heart. The rhythmic thumping of a heartbeat resonated, causing the eyes of the true dragon princess to flutter slightly, indicating a flicker of revival. Moments later, A wisp of ethereal shadow emerged from the depths of the divine source, revealing a fragment of the princess's consciousness. The old sea turtle hurried forward, bowing deeply in reverence. His voice trembling with excitement as he exclaimed, "Princess, it is I, Little Eight. Do you remember me?" The true dragon princess gazed at the prostrate elder, pondering for a moment before a look of recognition dawned upon her face. "Little Eight, are you not the small turtle that often dozed atop the incense burner in the dragon palace?" The old sea turtle nodded vigorously, replying, "Indeed, that is I. I am astonished that the princess still remembers me." Observing the aged appearance of the old sea turtle, the true dragon princess smiled sadly and remarked, "So much time has passed, nearly 1,000,000 years, I presume?" The old sea turtle sighed, saying, "Yes, back in the day. My youthful exuberance led me to stray from the dragon palace and inadvertently stumble into a secret realm where I was transported to distant seas. I spent almost 1,000,000 years there, but after encountering a powerful figure, I finally had the chance to return and see you once more." "A powerful figure?" The true dragon princess was taken aback. Under the old sea turtle's guidance, she then noticed Ji Xian standing nearby. He was as insubstantial as mist, almost imperceptible at first glance, yet upon closer inspection, he exuded an imposing presence reminiscent of an ancient deity, suffocating in its weight. The true dragon princess was startled. She had been oblivious to his presence at first, but now, scrutinizing him closely, she felt as though she was facing a primordial god or demon, a sensation of overwhelming pressure enveloping her. Junior Aou pays respect to the emperor of the human race. She offered a slight bow, instantly surmising the gravity of his status. Indeed, Ji Xian acknowledged with a nod, his expression calm as he inquired, "Do you hail from the true dragon lineage of the celestial ancient era?" Aou affirmed, "Yes, the dragon corpse coiled upon that mountain is of my kin. It is one of the ancestors of my dragon clan." The ancient sage Ji Xian turned his gaze toward the distant celestial corpse, murmuring to himself, "The essence within this dragon's body has long since dissipated. It now remains merely a hollow shell. Its current form is sustained solely by the nourishing dragon veins beneath. However, without it, even with Aou shielded by the chaos divine source, survival would not have been guaranteed. Are there still beings of immortal caliber within the celestial ancient realm?" Ji Xian inquired cautiously. Aou shook her head and replied, "All immortals have perished, victims of that catastrophic dark calamity. Though immortals are eternal, tainting themselves with darkness leads only to despair. My grandfather was one of the survivors, yet prolonged conflict ultimately drained his essence, and he succumbed to the passage of time. He passed away before I arrived here, using his last vestiges of strength to escort me, and the Dragon Palace is the sanctuary I established for his remains." Upon hearing this, Ji Xian fell into contemplation. He understood that the celestial ancient realm had likely succumbed as well, possibly falling prey to an incursion akin to a dark portal. He mused inwardly. It appears that even in isolation, with ancient prohibitions in place, the realm could not withstand the encroaching darkness. This is the inevitability of the cosmic order, an irreversible force of nature. Subsequently, he proceeded to inquire further about the celestial ancient realm from Aou. Aou elucidated. The Xiangu is an independent and vast realm, considered the most enigmatic and perilous place among the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Its expanse encompasses countless universes and galaxies. Ji Xian concurred with this assertion. Although he had perused myriad ancient texts, his understanding of Xiangu remained exceedingly limited. Even the revered tome, the Wu Dao Tiangong de Dian, merely skimmed the surface of its mysteries without delving into profound descriptions. This region is shrouded in enigma, said to have existed among the heavens long before the emergence of the 9 heavens and 10 earths. For millions of years, the powerful and supreme beings of these realms have approached it with trepidation. Despite being a land replete with opportunities for ascension, no emperor dares to trespass. Fully aware of the terrifying might of time itself, Aou continued, while it is widely believed that Xiangu is a realm of temporal chaos, most of its territory remains relatively normal. Only certain forbidden zones exhibit signs of temporal distortion, said to be remnants of a collapsed river of time, with portions of its waters having surged into this domain. Chapter 252, Whispers of Xiangu on the Expansive Plains Beneath the Sea. Ji Xian sat across a tea table from Aou, engaging in discourse about Xiangu. In the distance, Sun Huang was diligently cutting pieces of the Jiao Huang's flesh with the precious blade bestowed upon him by Ji Xian, casually tossing them into a large pot of boiling water. Qingqing stood quietly behind Ji Xian, yet her thoughts were far removed from their conversation, as her gaze fixated hungrily on the chaotic divine essence block on the ground, swallowing her saliva unconsciously. "Oh, for heaven's sake, number 2 of the main body. Stop chasing me. It's just not appropriate for the large and the small." The Xiao Tian dog frolicked on the hillside, evading the advances of the 2-hued canine. The latter pursued relentlessly, its face smeared with dirt, clearly having failed in its attempts. "Please, continue," Ji Xian urged, taking a sip of his tea, gesturing for Aou to elaborate. "Indeed," Aou nodded and continued. "As for the matter of the Baihu clan that you wish to understand, my knowledge is limited. This race has been extinct for over 10,000 years. The Baihu clan bore a heavy hand in slaughter, posing a substantial threat to the celestial races. During the last calamity, the celestial factions united in their assault, resulting in their permanent disappearance from Xiangu. However, there are rumors of a lone white tiger that survived, having slipped into the chaotic temporal forbidden zone, never to emerge again. At that time, the celestial races, undeterred, sought to breach the forbidden zone with celestial artifacts to retrieve the little white tiger. Yet, the appearance of a powerful human warrior drove them back, resulting in the deaths of 4 or 5 emperors, a tragic event that left a significant impact at the time. Upon hearing this, Ji Xian's mind raced with thoughts. That surviving little white tiger could undoubtedly be the Sword Emperor. But who was that human warrior? The only individual known to have ventured deeply into Xiangu was the former Heavenly Emperor, Ji Xianyuan. Could it possibly be him? Please, continue. Elaborate on that human. Ji Xian prompted. Ao Yue replied. The human race is quite weak within Xiangu, primarily existing as the lowest tier of slaves among the various clans. A formidable human warrior emerged, effortlessly vanquishing several emperors with mere strikes, leaving the great clans present in a state of astonishment. They secluded themselves for nearly 1,000,000 years, fearing retribution from this human powerhouse. While his visage remained obscured, his indistinct silhouette was all that could be discerned. Ji Xian listened intently, not daring to disturb the tea in his hands. Noticing Ji Xian's keen interest, Ao Yu continued to elaborate. Such clan conflicts were not confined to the White Tiger clan. The cataclysm had spurred the revival of the entire immortal lineage, inciting frenzy among all celestial races. For instance, the disputes between the E-Divine clan and the Golden Crow clan, as well as the conflicts between the chaotic Tao Tai and our True Dragon clan, had persisted for millennia. However, both sides had suffered significant losses, rendering their foundations too fragile for any to escalate matters to a fatal conclusion. Ji Xian wrinkled his nose, catching a whiff of distant meat that extinguished his desire to continue listening. Let us pause here. We have ample time ahead. He sensed that Ao Yu's knowledge was limited, merely scratching the surface. Certain matters necessitated his own exploration. Sun Huang hoisted a massive cauldron atop his head, calling out, "Dinner is served." In the distance, 2 dogs, engrossed in their chase, halted simultaneously upon hearing his voice, sniffing the air in his direction and exclaiming, "Goodness, that smells delightful." In perfect synchrony, they licked their lips, exchanging glances before stating, "Let us eat first." An inexplicable camaraderie formed as a black and white flash darted through the mountains, racing swiftly towards the source of the enticing aroma. Their movements were fluid and seamless, devoid of any unnecessary communication. Sun Huang, with palms outward, unleashed 5-colored flames, gradually controlling the raging fire beneath the cauldron. The flesh of the Jiaohuang was overwhelmingly potent. The mere remnants of its essence nearly overwhelmed him. Wiping the sweat from his brow, he grumbled, "Goodness, cooking this meat nearly cost me my life." Buzzing filled the air as the 2 dogs sped towards him, their passage flattening peaks and shattering cliffs, leaving countless small sea creatures crushed beneath their weight. Let this emperor see what feast could be so aromatic. Amidst the swirling dust, the Xiaotian dog was the first to leap forth, attempting to dive directly into the cauldron. Sun Huang, witnessing this, sprang up to intervene. "Damn it. I've been cooking all this time, and my master hasn't even had a taste. What do you think you're doing, you mutt?" He soared into the air, delivering a powerful kick to the Xiaotian dog's forehead, sending it hurtling backward. With a resounding crash, a radiant meteor streaked through the dark seabed, followed by a series of low hills collapsing under the impact. The Era, trailing closely behind, burst forth from the smoke, greedily eyeing the cauldron. "That pup is no match for me. I'm sturdier. Let me test it for poison first." Sun Huang, taken aback by the Era's imposing size, thought, "Where on earth did this dog come from? Humph, regardless of who you are, get lost." He drew forth the iron staff and struck fiercely, producing a thunderous sound that reverberated through the air, sending ripples cascading across the space. The 2-horned dog was flung backward, yet fared far better than the howling canine, merely pushed back several dozen paces. The ebony iron staff trembled, emitting a resonant hum, and Sun Huang's hands were rattled, blood trickling from the cracks in his palms. How could this be possible? He was taken aback. Was this dog's defense truly so formidable? At that moment, Ji Xian approached from afar, perceiving Sun Huang's bewilderment. He elucidated, "This great dog possesses a realm far superior to that of the little black dog, having attained the pinnacle of the Dharma manifestation stage. Its physical form has been refined to such an extent that, even if it were to transform into an ordinary dog devoid of cultivation, it would not be easily shaken by you." Sun Huang opened his mouth, poised to express his astonishment, but hesitated. To regard an emperor of the Dharma manifestation stage as a mere dog was unprecedented, yet recalling that it was his master who had done so, he felt reassured. Nevertheless, his innate combative spirit remained unquenched, leaving behind a remark that his master could feast first. While he would continue to hone his skills, he departed. Shortly thereafter, the sounds of a fierce battle between dog and monkey echoed from the nearby hills. Ji Xian waved his hand, and 5 or 6 chairs and tables materialized before him. While a large pot flew in, seemingly imbued with intelligence as it began to portion the meat broth. He lifted a bowl and savored a sip. Indeed, it was quite exquisite. This monkey's culinary skills were rather impressive. Even he, a being of considerable stature, seldom encountered such a level of delicacy. As the broth settled within him, the divine tree inside began to tremble vigorously, rapidly absorbing the abundant life essence. The old sea turtle also took a sip, gradually restoring its vitality, its cultivation slowly increasing. With joy lighting up his face, he turned to the floating AOU and said, "Your Highness, this is indeed a nourishing treasure. I will set some aside for you to restore your strength upon your awakening." Only Qingqing stood by, gazing at the sumptuous feast on the table, torn between indecision, seemingly wishing to convey something to Ji Xian, yet feeling too shy to speak. "What troubles you?" Ji Xian noticed her unusual demeanor and inquired. Qingqing pointed to the distant fallen divine source stone fragments, hesitantly stating, "Master, I wish to eat that." Chapter 253. The Supreme Celestial Artifact, Chaos Bell. The air thickened, enveloped in an eerie silence. Ji Xian was momentarily taken aback, then replied, "Why not simply refine it? Why use the term eat?" Qingqing's face flushed crimson. She stammered, "Master, it truly is about eating. The disciple feels that refining lacks flavor." Ji Xian understood that the girl had a peculiar disposition and did not dwell on it further, waving his hand, "Proceed as you wish." Upon hearing this, Qingqing took small steps towards the ground, beginning to collect the fragments of chaotic divine source. Ding! Detected that the host has gifted 53 fragments of chaotic divine source, triggering a return of 6.32 million times. Acquired the Supreme Celestial Artifact, Chaos Bell X1. Immediately, an ancient blue bell appeared within the system's space. Its surface intricately engraved with divine patterns of birds and beasts, each inch imbued with a radiant divine brilliance. Upon seeing the phrase Supreme, Ji Xian recalled the moment Ing Zheng achieved sanctification, and the technique of the Celestial Emperor's divine sealing automatically upgraded, transforming into the Supreme Celestial Method. This pinnacle transcends the previous categorization of celestial artifacts, standing alone as a distinct tier, which left Ji Xian in a state of perplexity. System. Returning to the host. "I am here. What constitutes the pinnacle?" In the realm of immortality, the pinnacle signifies the utmost sublimation, representing that this entity or individual is about to ascend to a new echelon, surpassing the boundaries of the immortal path. It is referred to as Ancestor. Ji Xian nodded, as thoughts flickered through his mind. The character Ancestor within his Fate Ancestor lineage indicated that he had already surpassed the confines of the immortal realm, stepping into a more formidable tier. "My limits may indeed be exceedingly high," Ji Xian murmured. In ancient times, those who achieved immortality stood at the zenith of the heavens, their vast powers capable of annihilating an entire universe with but a fleeting thought. The terror of this Ancestor realm was beyond Ji Xian's imagination. The journey remains long. He picked up his chopsticks and resumed sipping the meat soup. Suddenly, a sound akin to crystal shattering echoed from afar. At first, Ji Xian presumed it was the true dragon princess breaking free from the divine source, but upon closer inspection, he discovered it was Qingqing gnawing on the divine source. She squatted on the ground, cradling a block of divine source as large as a small mountain in her hands, taking bite after bite. This was an exceedingly bizarre sight. Although Qingqing's figure was statuesque, she seemed minuscule compared to the colossal block of divine source she held. She continued to consume it bite by bite. Threads of chaotic energy enveloped her, seeping in and out through her pores, indicative of her chaotic constitution's development. "Goodness, you truly are eating," the old sea turtle exclaimed in surprise. He never anticipated that such a stunning and seemingly aloof woman would possess such a contrasting side. Ji Xian, witnessing this scene, was equally taken aback. He began to understand why Qingqing had chosen to distance herself from her fellow brothers and retreat to such a remote location in the boundless divine sea for her cultivation. It was to maintain her demure image, it seemed. Noticing their gaze, Qingqing hurriedly tossed the block of divine source aside. This seemingly casual act, however, sent the block crashing into a towering underwater mountain, stirring up a 100-foot-high cloud of mud and sand. She swiftly approached, sitting at the table without uttering a word, and began to drink the meat soup in silence. "Why have you stopped eating?" Ji Xian inquired with a smile. "I'll eat later." Hic! Before she could finish, a loud belch erupted from her, startling the old sea turtle, who shivered in response. Ji Xian chuckled, instantly realizing the reason for Qingqing's preference for solitude. Just then, the distant mountains rumbled, and the howling sky hound and the two-horned dog dashed forward at breakneck speed. Frolicking merrily, Sun Huang chased closely behind, cursing, "Damn it, don't run. From now on, this weapon in my hand shall be called the dog-beating staff." These two dogs were truly exasperating, gossiping behind Ji Xian's back and provoking Sun Huang's ire. "Not running would be foolish. Even though I possess an immortal body, I certainly do not wish to be pierced by that thing." The two-horned dog transformed into a streak of black light as it raced down the mountainside, panting heavily. Before the dining table, heedless of the reactions around him, he promptly raised a bowl of meat soup and drank it down. Ah, refreshing. This wine is truly delightful, albeit with a hint of meatiness, remarked the second dog. Following suit, Sun Huang approached the table, shot a glare at the second dog, and downed a bowl of meat soup in one gulp. As the broth settled in his stomach, a fiery sensation erupted from below, drenching him in sweat, and wisps of white vapor escaped from his pores. Oh no, Sun Huang shouted, realizing too late the potent essence within the nine-headed serpent meat. Its effects were overwhelmingly fierce and not meant to be consumed directly. The second dog scoffed, huh? You, a mere monkey of the Holy King realm, are so frail. And your constitution is even weaker. What does drinking a bowl of soup signify? Watch as I down another. With that, the second dog raised another bowl and drank it all at once. His robust physique swiftly digested the immense life force contained within the broth. Hee just like this. The second dog cackled, seemingly mocking Sun Huang's ineptitude. Your mother. So what if your cultivation is high? Sun Huang grunted, propping himself up with his stick. Damn it. Leave some for me. I haven't even had a sip. In the distance, the howling sky dog hurried over. Smaller in stature and with lesser cultivation than the second dog, he took some time to arrive. Upon seeing the dog, Sun Huang felt a surge of anger. It was clearly just a dog, yet it had the audacity to split into two and torment him. I cannot tolerate this any longer. No way will I allow the other one to drink. He dropped his stick and advanced toward the approaching howling sky dog. Body number 2, deliver me a bowl. I can't stand it any longer. I need a boost. The howling sky dog raced over, catching the scent of the meat soup from afar. During the chase, he had been the one enduring the blows, while that wretched monkey couldn't even touch the second dog's tail. All damage had been inflicted upon the small dog. The second dog did not act maliciously. The two dogs shared a bond, enjoying blessings together and facing hardships side by side. He dutifully filled a bowl of soup and handed it over. However, just as the howling sky dog descended to catch the meat soup, Sun Huang strode forward. Channeling the holy combat arts, he summoned immense power and delivered a swift kick. Bang! The little black dog flew at the sound, vanishing like a streak of light at the end of the sea, leaving only an echo behind. Damn you, monkey, I will settle this with you. Chapter 254, Escape Under the Sea. Ji Xian and the others gathered at the table, relishing this nourishing delicacy. In the distance, the shattered corpse of the Serpent King lay sprawled, grander than the mountains. This pot had only simmered a few dozen pounds of meat. For Sun Huang, this was already the limit of his capacity. He sat cross-legged on the ground, drenched in sweat, his face flushed. He focused intently on refining the immense essence of the meat soup within him, as white smoke wafted from his pores, enveloping a radius of 10 feet. Ching was there, quietly slurping up the soup, not uttering a word. It is a chaotic entity. The wheel of the sea is, in essence, an abyss, where any life essence and Tao principles that arrive are destined to be devoured and refined. As it absorbs, it simultaneously transforms this portion of power into chaotic energy. After a considerable time, Sun Huang awakened from his state of enlightenment. He glanced around, noting the absence of the little black dog, which stirred a sense of unease within him, prompting him to inquire of Erha, where is the little dog? Has it gone astray? He had already spent several days refining this essence, yet the little black dog had not returned. Erha's expression tightened, a flicker of alarm crossing his eyes as he quickly shook his head, replying, I don't know. Who can tell how much strength you used to send it flying? Sun Huang, growing impatient, retorted, aren't you two supposed to be connected at heart? You should be able to sense its whereabouts. Bring it back. Erha buried his head in the bowl, blowing bubbles in the water, remaining silent as if deliberately concealing something. Ching and the old sea turtle also focused their attention here. The little black dog had been missing for several days without any sign of return, which was indeed perplexing. Humph. Sun Huang scoffed, leaping onto Erha's neck and tugging at the fur around his throat. Speak, you wretched dog. Will you tell me or not? Erha yelped in pain, but remained tight-lipped. In the midst of this, he cast a furtive glance at Ji Xian, and upon seeing that he was not overly focused on their situation, he feigned a dash toward the distant mountains. A monkey and a dog tumbled into a chase, with Erha speeding away, seemingly intent on avoiding Ji Xian. Halt! Ji Xian commanded, tapping the table with his index finger, producing a sharp sound that summoned Erha back. The moment Erha heard this, a wave of dread washed over him, realizing the gravity of the situation. Yielding to the overwhelming deterrent of the Supreme Being, he had no choice but to turn back. Who has arrived outside? Ji Xian inquired coldly. In recent days, he had sensed something amiss. The little black dog, having been kicked away by Sun Huang, should have returned long ago, yet it was nowhere to be found. Moreover, a subtle aura, hidden and elusive, lay dormant several million miles away, evading detection. Erha shifted his gaze elsewhere, feigning indifference as he replied, I have no idea. I currently possess no cultivation, so I know nothing. Such audacity, Ji Xian exclaimed, rising abruptly and stepping forward, unleashing a tempestuous wave of energy that sent Sun Huang flying. Only Erha remained, bearing the brunt of the overwhelming pressure, his body racked with pain, bones cracking under the strain, limbs growing weak. Yet, this loquacious dog chose to remain silent, holding on with all his might. You think my mercy in sparing you is a sign of weakness? Do you truly believe I hesitate to end your life? Ji Xian's gaze turned fierce as he took another step, his imposing presence intensifying, causing the very seabed to tremble and the surrounding mountains to rumble and collapse. With a sputter, Erha felt his form nearing disintegration, a mouthful of blood spattering forth, while crimson blossoms appeared on his brow, indicating damage to his spirit. Yes, the 8th Palace Master has arrived. Seeking to use secret techniques to escape with me and the primary body, Erha finally confessed, unable to endure the pressure any longer. In their prior pursuit, he had conspired with the Howling Sky Hound to elope, seizing the opportunity to discreetly transmit a message to the 8th Lord of the Underworld Mountain, who awaited the emergence of the Dragon Palace, while distancing themselves from Ji Xian. Subsequently, aided by Sun Huang's kick, the Howling Sky Hound managed to escape and should now be hastening towards the 8th Lord. Humph! Ji Xian scoffed, drawing everything around him into the cosmos within his sleeves, causing a tumultuous stir in the depths of the sea as the figure in white vanished from sight. On a desolate expanse in the distant sea, the Howling Sky Hound, panting heavily, halted before a stone chamber. He raised his paw and knocked on the door, calling inside. Old 8, open the door, I have arrived. With a rumble, the stone chamber's door gradually parted, revealing a gap roughly a foot wide. The Howling Sky Hound furtively glanced around before stepping inside. The space within was remarkably vast. While it appeared to be merely a stone chamber from the outside, it contained a hidden world. The dark ceiling of the chamber was adorned with swirling stars, while the surroundings were devoid of any objects, save for the distant intertwining sounds of divine pathways. A shadowy figure flickered at the far end of the chamber, its illumination fluctuating. The Howling Sky Hound curled his lip disdainfully and remarked, Old 8, spare me the pretense of being a sage. Reveal yourself quickly, or Ji Xian will sense our presence. A sinister chuckle echoed forth, and the environment within the chamber transformed dramatically. The stars above shifted, and the sea became land, as the space below gradually brightened. At the center, a stone platform bore a large, grotesque catfish. Its skin was a deep purple black, its body corpulent, and its thick lips opened and closed, inhaling the essence of the sea. 2 golden whiskers extended from either side of its snout, indicating signs of transformation. Haha, Old 9, I never anticipated you would find yourself in such a predicament. The catfish jeered at the sight of the Howling Sky Hound. The hound's heart ached with nostalgia, recalling the painful days of being bullied and butchered in the Dao sect. However, today, all past humiliations would be washed away. He would no longer be the Howling Sky Hound, but the 9th Lord of the Underworld Mountain. Quickly regaining his composure, he laughed heartily and addressed the 8th Lord above. What are you so proud of? Once I break through to the supreme level, you'll become the most insignificant among the 9 emperors of the Underworld Mountain. The catfish displayed a dismissive expression and slowly maneuvered its hefty form closer. It exhaled a cloud of murky black mist, revealing strands of supreme power. The Howling Sky Hound's eyes widened in astonishment. Heh, I can break through to the supreme level at any moment. If it weren't for our past camaraderie, I would have already secluded myself to advance. The catfish retorted. The Howling Sky Hound nodded, acknowledging his debt to the 8th Lord. He then inquired, is everything prepared? The catfish grinned broadly. Rest assured, all is ready. But according to what you said, can this secret method truly enable you to instantaneously summon another body? The Howling Sky Hound replied confidently, trust me, once I merge, I shall undoubtedly become a supreme. Good. The catfish unfurled an ancient scroll with deliberate care, stating, let us commence. Chapter 255, The Might of the Chaotic Bell. Within the stone chamber, the catfish conjured a black altar, meticulously arranging a small-scale teleportation array. Old 9. Lie down, he instructed. The Howling Sky Hound scrutinized the tattered scroll in the catfish's grasp with skepticism, voicing, this scroll is in shambles. Can it truly function? Previously, I clearly warned you that Ji Xian is a young supreme being. Do not let this affair cost you your life. The catfish stroked his chin, responding with a mischievous grin, rest assured, do not be deceived by its worn appearance. It is crafted from the hide of a long-deceased human immortal, coupled with the illusionary array outside. Even if he possesses heavenly treasures, he may not breach it in the short term. By then, your other incarnation will react swiftly enough to evade. He added, moreover, I am on the verge of breaking through to become a supreme being. Should unforeseen events arise and attract the supreme tribulation, even the mightiest must retreat. The Howling Sky Hound fell silent. At this juncture, there was naught to do but take a gamble. If it fails, then let it be. Buzz. The ancient scroll burst forth with myriad radiant lights, unfurling gradually, as if divine authority had descended, filling the entire cavern. A beam of chaotic divine light shot from the center of the scroll, piercing directly into the hound's brow, instantaneously severing his consciousness to summon his other incarnation back. Meanwhile, Ji Xian stood upon the boundless ocean, surveying his surroundings. Hundreds of islands were meticulously arrayed across the surface of the sea, forming an elaborate illusionary formation that cloaked millions of miles of space. This was a top-tier imperial phantom array, composed of numerous identical islands, designed to bewilder Ji Xian's vision and buy time. From the moment Ji Xian pierced through the void and plunged into the depths of the sea, he had unwittingly become ensnared within this illusion. The underworld mountain had exerted considerable effort to secure the Dragon Palace's divine treasure this time. On the sea's surface, a flock of sacred avian beasts flew in formation. But the instant they entered this spatial realm, they were scattered. They appeared at various locations, their secretive powers preventing them from regrouping. Intriguing. Yet I have no desire to linger. Ji Xian narrowed his eyes, and with a flick of his finger, summoned the chaotic bell from the void. The bell, black and only a yard in height, hung silently before him, its ancient form radiating chaotic resonances even without provocation. Upon its emergence, the surrounding space began to constrict ominously, showing signs of impending collapse. Ji Xian understood that this supreme artifact, boasting the epithet of ultimate, transcended the limits of the 9 heavens and 10 earths, serving as a cataclysmic weapon of unparalleled destruction. Shatter. He gently tapped the bell, and a resounding divine sound reverberated outward in all directions. Dong, dong, dong. Centered around him and the bell, an overwhelming force surged forth, as if a mighty avalanche were unleashed. The tumultuous ocean, like a primordial beast, instantaneously engulfed the hundreds of islands. Boom. The space trembled violently, and the waterfall at the ocean's edge shattered into fragments, while countless distant stars erupted in a brilliant explosion. A black void manifested, threatening to tear apart the very fabric of the cosmos. The Chaos Bell, with its sheer momentum, nearly shattered this small universe. I have found you. Ji Xian's cold gaze sparkled like a cascade of brilliant stars, piercing through the cosmic expanse and pinpointing a location that directed towards an underwater stone chamber. Simultaneously, the catfish, in the midst of casting a spell, felt a tightening in his chest. How could he have discovered us so swiftly? He hurriedly summoned back the spirit of the Howling Sky Dog. Has something gone awry? The Howling Sky Dog, upon awakening, immediately inquired. The terrifying energy fluctuations from afar were impossible to ignore. The catfish's expression grew grave as he remarked, I did not anticipate his speed. I must resort to the secret arts of Mount Ming, sacrificing part of your cultivation to expedite the formation's operation. Very well. The Howling Sky Dog did not hesitate and readily agreed. Having spent centuries in the Dao sect, his cultivation had significantly advanced. Now reaching the late stage of the clear Dao realm, such a sacrifice could potentially cause him to fall from the imperial realm. Yet there was no time to ponder further. He understood the terror of Ji Xian. The Howling Sky Dog opened his mouth wide, unleashing a stream of golden blood, his essence. As it mingled with the divine blood, the ancient scroll transformed from tattered to translucent, hovering in the air as if a celestial being had descended. From the array, the catfish also employed the sacrificial method, utilizing an imperial weapon as a price to propel the summoning formation to its zenith. Meanwhile, Ji Xian, racing forward, sensed a disturbance in his sleeve. The two-hued canine he had stored within was forcibly extracted, attempting to be taken away. The void tunnel opened, and an aura of celestial majesty spilled forth, manifesting as a translucent hand that enveloped the dog. They had indeed succeeded. Witnessing that unparalleled celestial presence, the two-hued canine rejoiced, realizing that Mount Ming had drawn upon the depths of its celestial heritage for him. You cannot escape, Ji Xian coldly commanded, once more invoking the Chaos Bell and striking down with force. Crack! Boom! A deafening explosion resonated. The sound waves surged as chaos unfurled. Following that, the river of stars reversed, the brilliant starlight was disrupted, and the world dimmed. Entire islands and mountain ranges were annihilated, while boundless seawater cascaded into the depths of the universe. In a single blow, a corner of the East Sea was utterly collapsed. The overwhelming force instantly tore apart the translucent hand. The two-hued canine's body could not withstand such apocalyptic power and erupted into a rain of blood. Then, with a flash of celestial light, the blood coalesced, forming the shape of a dog. Gasping for breath, the two-hued canine appeared significantly weakened. Had it not been for a life-saving treasure he possessed, he would have perished in that moment. What kind of weapon could obliterate an emperor of the Law Phase realm in an instant? He gazed at the great bell in Ji Xian's hand with immense trepidation, instinctively feeling an urge to kneel in submission. This is a grave predicament. Better to behave like a dog. After uttering this phrase, Ji Xian waved his hand, grasping the two-hued canine and tossing it back into his sleeve. Wishing you both good fortune, were the final thoughts of the two-hued canine as he vanished. On the other side, both the catfish and the Howling Sky Dog simultaneously spat out dark blood. The celestial power activated by their essence had taken damage, and they too were affected. The situation has become dire. The Howling Sky Hound shook its head, realizing that this calamity was inescapable. We still have a way, the catfish declared, revealing a formation plate from its mouth. It addressed the Howling Sky Hound. This is my contingency plan. I have inscribed millions of array patterns in this place. We can be enveloped by the spatial realm and return to the underworld mountain at great speed. You can forego your other body. It is unlikely to survive. Instead, focus on cultivating from the realm of brightness to regain your peak. As it spoke, the catfish invoked the formation plate with supreme power, causing myriad intricate patterns to emerge on the stone chamber walls, numbering in the millions. Thunderous sounds erupted. In an instant, their surroundings transformed dramatically, as if they had departed the stone chamber and entered the boundless starry sky. The distance between the Eastern Sea and the underworld mountain was vast, requiring the traversal of multiple universes. Let us go. The catfish swallowed the howling skyhound, protecting its injured body within. The stone chamber began to shake violently. The earlier starry scene shifting from illusion to reality as they compressed and overlapped space infinitely, opening a passage to traverse the cosmos. Chapter 256, Slaying the Catfish. Ancient Emperor. At the edge of the universe, amidst the void, a point of light flickered rapidly. With the power of the teleportation array, their speed had reached its zenith. The catfish curled its body, expanding a luminous shield to fend off the fierce winds blowing from the depths of the cosmos. Below, the expansive Eastern Sea appeared as diminutive as a sesame seed, having escaped countless billions of miles. Now we are finally safe, the catfish sighed. Though it had mentally prepared itself, the might of Ji Xian still astonished it. The ancient scroll, crafted from celestial skin and propelled by the sacrifice of the two emperors' essences, had failed to withstand even a moment. Old Ninth, was it he who seized the little emperor's coffin? The catfish communicated telepathically to the howling sky hound in its mouth. It was indeed him. Now do you believe my words? Who could possibly withstand such power? Even the 4 or 5 hall masters would struggle to guard the copper coffin. The howling sky hound retorted indignantly. In the past, many emperors had pointed fingers at it regarding this matter, which had greatly infuriated the howling sky hound. The catfish affirmed, that is indeed the case. Although I have not reached the supreme level, I am on the brink, with a faint perception of that tier's power. However, the strength displayed by that human exceeds the supreme realm. The ability to obliterate Erha's physical form in a single strike is unimaginable. In the Emperor realm, there is indeed a suppression of higher over lower, yet it is inconceivable that one could shatter another's body and soul with a single blow. Throughout history, every emperor has been extraordinarily talented. Once one reaches this echelon, few perish so easily. In the Underworld Mountain, the 1st and 2nd Hall Masters are nearly immortal. Yet killing the 8 or 9 Hall Masters would still require considerable effort. The Howling Sky Hound remarked, Ji Xian's strength is terrifying. Having seized the copper coffin, he poses an unprecedented threat to the Underworld Mountain. We must return and inform the 1st and 2nd Hall Masters. We cannot allow him to hinder the revival of the Underworld Immortals. You cannot escape. Suddenly, a thundering voice echoed from the depths of the universe, carrying an overwhelming imperial might that caused both the catfish and the howling sky hound to change their expressions dramatically. The catfish gazed downward and indeed beheld a figure clad in white, atop a grand bell, descending upon a divine palanquin of pristine white. The palanquin emitted a thunderous roar that shattered the profound silence of the cosmos as it approached. How could this be possible? The catfish was struck with astonishment, its mind swirling chaotically like drifting dragon whiskers. Was there truly someone capable of rivaling the speed of a teleportation array? No. The issue lay with the divine palanquin beneath its feet. It soon realized, with a look of horror, that the white palanquin was flawless, akin to a complete imperial coffin. A perfect celestial artifact. The distance between them was rapidly diminishing. Ji Xian's speed reached its zenith, and as the void gale drew near, it was instantly shattered. The resounding toll of the bell reverberated once more, deafening in its intensity, as the flying catfish convulsed, both body and spirit enduring a catastrophic blow. Blood gushed from its 7 orifices, and its corpulent form collapsed, consciousness plunging into darkness. Old 8, what the hell is wrong with you? Open your mouth and let me out. Xiao Tian Dog shouted anxiously, trapped within the catfish's maw, nearly suffocating from the stench of saliva mixed with blood. With determination, he burrowed deep within the catfish, frantically tearing at its veins and arteries. Ah, damn it. You crazy dog, what are you doing? You're killing me. The catfish jolted awake from its chaotic awareness, weakly cursing. In such a dire moment, you fainted. Run, or we shall both perish, urged Xiao Tian Dog. The catfish glanced back, realizing its body had been ravaged by the shock, jagged bone fragments protruding ominously. Had it not been for the sufficient distance, it might have met its demise. How terrifying. Were we the demonic faction, or was he? In an instant, doubts about its very existence crept in. Below, Ji Xian relentlessly pursued, the divine palanquin beneath him resembling a leaping white dragon as it darted through the cosmos. This was his first time fully activating this celestial artifact, and the results were exceedingly gratifying. Up ahead, the figure of the catfish became distinctly visible. Ji Xian opened his palm, a trace of the husky's primordial blood lingering upon it. Were it not for the shared lineage between the little dog and the big dog, attracting the blood would not have been so swift. Thus, this journey was indeed a grave mistake for you, catfish. The 9 emperors of the Underworld Mountain are about to become 8. With that proclamation, he pressed on the divine palanquin, accelerating his pursuit. Ahead, a diminutive stargate materialized. We are almost there. That is the universe of the Underworld Mountain. Just a few more days, just a few more days. The catfish rejoiced. For upon reaching the Underworld Mountain, they would find salvation and escape the relentless pursuit of the human race. The Stargate was the threshold to the universe of the underworld mountain, a glimmer of hope at the end of their despair. Ji Xian, clearly sensing a shift, murmured, "The end of hope will be despair." Boom, boom, boom. He unleashed a barrage of golden palm imprints across the void, causing the ethereal space to tremble. The golden imprints surged forward like ancient divine mountains, splitting the void and creating terrifying fissures. A turbulent zone emerged, slicing through the space into hundreds of fragments. And that tiny Stargate vanished from the catfish's sight in an instant. No, in a moment of despair. He cried out as the gateway to the starlit realm vanished before his eyes. To seek it again amidst this chaotic void would require an unfathomable span of years. Bah! Let it perish. At that instant, Ji Xian arrived, catching up to the silhouette of the catfish. With a mere flick of his fingers, a terrifying sword intent tore through the fabric of space, shattering the spatial barriers surrounding it in an instant. The teleportation space had failed. The catfish was taken aback. Without the protection of this small realm, their speed would dissipate. "You, wretched creature, dare to snatch from my grasp." Ji Xian spoke coldly, his words echoing like the tolling of a death knell in the void. "You shall perish." The catfish, eyes aflame with desperation, realized escape was futile and resolved to summon the supreme tribulation. Booming thunder resonated throughout the previously desolate cosmos as a crystalline sea of lightning erupted, with violet bolts surging and roiling, shaking the very fabric of the universe. This was a force of unimaginable horror, coalesced from the great Tao. The might of the supreme thunder tribulation was so formidable that even those who had transcended their tribulations would steer clear, for it was the divine retribution of the heavens. The fierce winds tousled Ji Xian's hair as he retracted his divine chariot, standing alone atop the great bell, his gaze indifferent, having already condemned the catfish to death. The howling celestial dog cried out from the catfish's mouth, "How could you betray a brother like this? I'm merely at the mysterious Tao realm. Even a spark from the supreme thunder tribulation could obliterate me 1,000 times over. Release me at once." The catfish, engulfed in lightning, had succumbed to a state of madness, paying no heed to the dog's pleas. With a guttural roar, it opened its gaping maw, unleashing a thick stream of black light, reeking of corrosive energy. Under the influence of the tribulation, the sea of lightning surged violently, as bolts poured down like a torrential downpour. This accursed catfish harbored no intention of transcending. It aimed to bring Ji Xian down with it. The celestial dog cursed under its breath. "Today, though I may perish, as long as I can extinguish you, I shall remain the 8th lord of the underworld mountain for millennia to come. The underworld mountain is eternal. The underworld immortals are eternal." The catfish ignited in flames, engulfed by an overwhelming tide of dark demonic energy, pouring all its thoughts into inciting the thunderous tribulation. The tumult intensified, transforming the previously chaotic void into a forbidden domain. Any living being that dared to enter would be annihilated by the bolts of lightning. Even emperors would not be spared. Ji Xian stood proudly amidst the chaos, unaffected by the lightning striking down upon him. "The farce has come to an end. I am here to bring my canine companion home." He cradled the chaotic bell in his palm, channeling his unparalleled physical strength to strike it. The sound that emanated was one capable of obliterating all things, as the sound waves expanded into tangible divine rings. In an instant, the cacophony of the turbulent sea of lightning was eclipsed, replaced by the explosive resonance echoing throughout the cosmos. "Ah!" The catfish let out a mournful wail as the divine sound tore through its form with merciless force, shattering its gargantuan body into fragments within the void. Its very soul was annihilated, unable to withstand even a fleeting moment. Amidst the chaotic currents, a small black dog was swept away by the wind, its body limp. Clearly having lost consciousness, with a sweeping gesture, Ji Xian captured him, demanding, "Give me a reason not to slay you both." The little black dog, his eyes clouded, struggled to utter a few words. We can take you to find the Kunping Emperor." Chapter 257. The Wolf God is dead. Ergo shall stand forth within the divine palanquin. Two dogs lay as lifeless as corpses upon the ground, their bodies drenched in blood. Sun Huang approached, prodding the battered body of the howling sky dog with a stick. Noticing its lack of response, he furrowed his brow and turned away. Qingqing gathered 2 clusters of delicate white flowers, gently placing them on the dogs' bodies while murmuring a quiet farewell. In the outside world, the divine palanquin drifted aimlessly through the void, occasionally passing by gates to star domains, which served as entrances to various universes. A year, 2 years, 5 years. Goodness, how long have I slept? The Erha opened his eyes first, rising to survey his surroundings. The grassland stretched out like a cerulean wave into the distance. The lakes sparkled with clarity, scattered across the fields like glimmering pearls. The earth was imbued with the essence of life, nourished by divine springs. Lost in wonder, Erha murmured, "Is this paradise?" He pinched a dried flower from his chest and brought it to his nose, perplexed by the sensation. Cough, cough. Beside him, the howling sky dog gently cleared his throat and awakened. He licked the dried blood from his fur, beginning to familiarize himself with the environment. Is this the interior of Ji Xian's divine palanquin? He wandered about, striving to recall the events that had transpired. Body 1. I never expected you to be here as well. We ultimately failed to merge successfully, after a million years of pursuing the demonic path. To find ourselves in such a sacred place post-mortem, Erha sighed, feeling a deep sorrow for his identity as the wolf god. The howling sky dog shot him a disdainful glance, retorting, "Stop your lamenting. We're still alive. You're already an emperor. How can you still believe in the nonsense of heaven and hell? Just go find a block of tofu and end it." Huh, we're not dead? Erha blinked in disbelief. After causing such chaos in the East Sea, how had Ji Xian spared their lives? He recalled the tales of the man who could slay dogs without a second thought and wondered why. Erha's mind struggled to grasp the complexity of the situation. The howling sky dog, understanding his foolish brother's lack of intellect, explained, "I promised Ji Xian I would take him to find that old Kunpun." At these words, Erha's expression shifted, panic seeping into his voice. "Are you out of your mind? The last time we faced Kunpun, we were left with nothing but our undergarments. And you still dare to go?" The howling sky dog swiftly delivered a sharp smack to Erha's head. "You dolt, do you even think? This time, Ji Xian is the one going." "Oh." Erha tilted his head, nodding in comprehension. "You too. If you're alive, come see me." A commanding male voice echoed from the distant sky, reverberating with such force that it nearly shattered the eardrums of the two dogs. "Should we go? What if he changes his mind and decides to kill us?" Erha recalled the moment he was obliterated by the chime of a great bell, and cold sweat broke out across his body. Xiao Tian dog displayed a contemplative expression and remarked, "It is unlikely. This is the interior of his divine chariot. If he intended to harm us, he would have acted long ago, not allowing our wounds to heal naturally." Under the influence of fear and uncertainty, the two dogs ventured forth in the direction from which the sound emanated. On a grand mountain, Ji Xian had set up a pavilion, reclining languidly on a bamboo chair, basking in the gentle warmth of the breeze. Beside him, Aoyu stood quietly, her eyes cast down, her demeanor humble. Her true form had been released by Ji Xian, and with the assistance of the heavenly laws, she had adapted to the rules of the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Furthermore, Ji Xian had imparted the complete and unblemished true dragon divine art to her, with the condition that she would accompany him into the immortal ancient realm in the future. Aoyu gazed at the true dragon divine seal within the cycle of the seas, her heart brimming with joy. The complete true dragon divine art. The immortal ancient had once been tainted by darkness, leading to the demise of many celestial beings. Hence, since the fall of the first dragon ancestor, the true dragon divine art had never been restored. For this reason, the bloodline of the true dragons in the immortal ancient had been affected, no longer pure and unblemished, but mingled with the divine blood of other races. Now, after countless millennia, she had finally obtained it. The ancestral divine art was the very foundation of their ancient celestial lineage. Possessing it, Aoyu was confident in her ability to lead the dragon clan back to its zenith. What she now lacked was a vigorous male true dragon to aid her in propagating her lineage. Rustling on the hillside, the two dogs approached, one following the other. Squatting, Ji Xian casually waved his fan and remarked. Xiao Tian dog instinctively retorted, "Do you truly believe we are your?" Before he could finish, the other dog silenced him with a paw, holding him in a half-squatting position, unable to move. "Ah, your awareness has improved. Quite commendable," Ji Xian said as he rose and approached, affectionately patting the head of the other dog, stuffing a divine fruit into its mouth. Instantly, a surge of life energy erupted from the dog's mouth, radiating vibrant green light, and the lingering wounds it bore were instantaneously healed. Just as the dog was about to express its gratitude, it realized that Ji Xian had casually taken its life-saving imperial talisman. "My talisman," the dog thought, its expression darkening. That was its safeguard, its most potent trump card. Ji Xian toyed with the damaged golden talisman in his hand and remarked, "A treasure imbued with the essence of the celestial path can grant a cultivator a few lives, and only one use remains." Alas, and with a firm squeeze, the golden talisman shattered, transforming into radiant golden sand that cascaded to the ground. The dog felt a pang of regret. Its treasured artifact cultivated over 1,000,000 years had been destroyed just like that. Yet, it dared not retaliate, fearing Ji Xian might crush it with a great bell. Ji Xian strolled before the two dogs, hands clasped behind his back, murmuring, "I grant you both a chance at life. From now on, ensure you guard the Dao sect well. Should you neglect your duties, I shall make you two in a hot pot. Do you understand?" The dog raised its paw, foolishly inquiring, "Can I take the night shift? I struggle to rise in the morning." Aoyu sighed beside him, thinking, this foolish dog is beyond saving. Seeing the other dog acquiesce, he too had no choice but to comply. Meanwhile, he contemplated within himself that after this journey, he would likely be reduced to a mere dog, forever subjugated beneath the tyrannical influence of Ji Xian. The lord of the 9th hall of the underworld, the howling celestial wolf, a half-step supreme, had perished. What remained were but 2 dishonored hounds. Ji Xian nodded, rising to stow away the pavilion behind him, declaring, "Prepare to set sail for the northern undersea." The howling celestial dog immediately inscribed the coordinates of the northern undersea and the cosmos where Emperor Kunpeng resided, presenting them forth. Buzz. The divine chariot activated. Torrents of white dragon energy surged forth like a great river as 8 Qilin roared in unison. With a stomp of their feet, they surged directly into the depths of the universe. Chapter 258. The Northern Sea. Kunpeng in the void space, connecting myriad universes, it was boundless, dark, and profound, with no one knowing where it led. This was a desolate realm, where the endless divine chariot had traversed for decades. There lay the Northern Sea. Before the chariot, the two-headed hound pointed toward a black star gate. Through that gate, the tumultuous sounds of roaring seas could faintly be heard, with ominous black waves barely visible. All signs foretelling the terror and fury of the Northern Sea. Buzz. As they approached the universe of the Northern Sea, the divine chariot suddenly jolted. The howling celestial dog lost its footing, nearly tumbling down. Terrified, it gazed ahead, exclaiming, "A great anomaly is occurring in the Northern Sea." The two-headed hound, shedding its foolish facade, also regarded the scene with a grave expression. It sensed a terrifying celestial aura beginning to spread. Ji Xian summoned his divine power, stabilizing the endless divine chariot, breaking through the cosmic barriers, and passing through layers of stargates, entering the northern undersea. This was a realm both dark and tempestuous, with the sea surface exceedingly tumultuous. Towering waves surged forth like mountains collapsing, producing cataclysmic sounds that sent tremors through the myriad beings of the ocean, invoking cries of impending disaster. The sky was shrouded in a black veil, extinguishing the once brilliant starlight, leaving no trace of illumination. Ji Xian's multi-hued pupils radiated boundless light, enveloping the entire expanse. He sensed a formidable celestial rule attempting to breach the vast cosmos of the 9 heavens and 10 earths, descending upon this realm. However, another force was fiercely resisting the descent of this celestial tribulation, an indomitable will, who was destined to transcend the tribulation, who sought to attain immortality. In an instant, Ji Xian thought of Emperor Kunpeng, who had reached the pinnacle of the feathering realm for countless millennia, his long-accumulated power likely inviting the celestial tribulation. Let us go. Without hesitation, he steered the divine chariot toward the direction where Emperor Kunpeng resided. Upon the endless sea, thousands of powerful sea beasts howled towards the heavens. Bloodthirsty by nature, the impending calamity did not instill fear within them. Rather, it ignited their desire for slaughter, rampaging against the hidden cultivators. Groups of pirates piloted their grand vessels across the sea, ambushing merchant ships, growing ever more brazen as chaos reigned. Ji Xian propelled the divine chariot at breakneck speed toward the location of Emperor Kunpeng. Even he, usually as calm as a still pond, bore a hint of solemnity upon his visage. The celestial essence of the 9 heavens and 10 earths has long since been depleted, rendering it unsuitable for the attainment of immortality. Should the Supreme Emperor Kunpeng find himself unable to contain the overwhelming power within, the descent of a celestial tribulation would be inevitable. A single bolt of divine lightning could obliterate the entirety of the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Although he possesses protective systems that render him unafraid, the fate of his disciples and the people sheltered by the Dao sect would be dire in such a calamity. The forces of the celestial path operate in such a manner that with a mere thought, worlds can be birthed or extinguished. Buzz. The divine carriage pierced through the void, traversing the boundless oceans like a leaping white dragon, ultimately coming to rest upon a barren little island. The island was desolate, characterized by rugged mountains and arid deserts, save for a solitary cliff that bore a small grove, within which stood a few humble thatched cottages. Is this truly the abode of the Supreme Emperor Kunpeng? Sun Huang was utterly astonished at the sight. The opulence of the treasure vault he had once entered was nothing short of magnificent. Yet this stark environment was a stark contrast to the grandiose heavens where emperors were thought to reside, accompanied by immortal trees and divine springs. How could the dwelling of the Supreme Emperor Kunpeng be less comfortable than the cave he had excavated in the Dao sect? Beside him, Qingqing was engaged in a conversation with Princess Xinlong, occasionally casting reproaches towards the Xiaodian hound, questioning whether it had miscalculated the coordinates, causing the hound to tremble in indignation. Ji Xian, however, remained remarkably composed. He understood that the higher one's cultivation, the more one must seek the simplicity and austerity of nature to experience the profundities of the Tao. Only through such experiences could one sever all distractions and successfully break through during a pivotal moment. Yet, the circumstances surrounding the Supreme Emperor Kunpeng appeared rather intricate. He stowed away the divine carriage, cradling the others in his palm, and soared towards that cliff. Upon entering the small grove, the environment shifted once more. The forest was deep and the paths winding and secluded. The bamboo surrounding them was a vibrant green, translucent, and sparkling with life, completely devoid of the desolate aura from the outside world. This was a miniature realm, vastly larger than the barren island beyond. After traversing several hundred miles, Ji Xian finally beheld a cluster of thatched cottages nestled beside an artificial hill. In front of one such cottage was a stone table, where an elderly man with white hair sat, seemingly lost in contemplation. Ji Xian approached with light and graceful steps. The old man looked up and inquired, "Which friend of the Tao approaches?" "Never mind, please sit," he continued. "Do you not recognize me?" Ji Xian felt a pang of confusion as he saw the bewilderment in the eyes of the Supreme Emperor Kunpeng. It was clear he had forgotten him. Regardless of who you are, a guest is a guest. The elder waved his hand, and 2 cups of fragrant tea appeared on the table. Gesturing for Ji Xian to take a seat. Beneath the bamboo, silence enveloped them, and the two sat across from each other, sipping their warm tea. You have severed the Tao, Ji Xian remarked, his gaze deepening as he discerned the peculiarities of the Supreme Emperor Kunpeng. The feathered ascendant's realm represents the final stage of the imperial domain. The term feather evokes images of soaring plumes, embodying both lightness and boundlessness. To ascend to immortality, one must relinquish all worldly attachments and forget the bonds of secular kinship and friendship. Only in doing so can one reach the highest echelons of existence, transcending time and space, and cultivate the boundless celestial power that brings universal stillness. This is the path of severance, yet also the path of enlightenment. Indeed, I seem to have forgotten everything. We must have met before. The great Emperor Kunpeng chuckled hollowly, uncertain whether it was joy or sorrow that stirred within him. Approaching the realm of immortality, he emanated an aura transcending the mundane world, rendering his inner feelings and emotions imperceptible to all. Yet Ji Xian could sense his reluctance, his unwillingness to ascend to immortality, and his desire to remain in this world, pursuing the celestial path beyond the cosmos. In essence, he still harbored an obsession. He did not wish to forsake everything and depart in pursuit of ascension. Suddenly, the serene elder with white hair coughed up blood, staining his white robe. Golden threads of lightning spread across his body like serpents, devouring his very being. You have actually absorbed all the power of the tribulations into your body. In doing so, your demise is inevitable. Release it. I possess a treasure that can aid your ascension, Ji Xian urged. With that, he produced an ancient bell, its harmonious chime resonating through the air, instantly subduing the swirling lightning. The white-haired elder shook his head, tears welling in his eyes as he sorrowfully declared, I am bound by my obsession. I am unwilling to let go. There is someone in my heart, yet I can no longer remember who they are. Their visage has become a blur, but I still think of them. They are significant to me. I remain here to guard this place out of a promise. I do not wish to sever my path, nor do I desire to ascend to immortality. I cannot bear to have all beings of the 9 heavens and 10 earths perish for my sake. Darkness is about to descend. The beings of the 9 heavens and 10 earths need me. I cannot simply depart. After hearing these words, Ji Xian was deeply moved. The great Emperor Kunpeng had severed ties with his past, yet still cared for the beings of the 9 heavens and 10 earths. This was the genuine sentiment that resided within him, a testament to his longing for that individual. In truth, he could have annihilated all beings of the 9 heavens and 10 earths to secure his own ascension. Once his position was fortified, he could create an entirely new realm. By then, nourished by the powers of celestial paths, the overall essence of the beings would undoubtedly surpass their current state. Indeed, for an immortal, creating a dimensional universe with a mere thought is a trivial endeavor. Yet, the great Emperor Kunpeng chose not to pursue this route. His attachment lay not in the dimensional universe itself, but rather in the 9 heavens and 10 earths, imbued with the hues of the one whom the Sword Emperor had devoted his life to protect. One man, one sword, traversing the forbidden zones of life, suppressing the 9 emperors of the underworld mountain, vanquishing ancient clans from beyond the realms, and standing against the darkness at the edge of the starry domain. Countless legends of him circulated throughout this world. In the ensuing moments, the great Emperor Kunpeng shared many tales of his past with that individual. From their acquaintance in ancient times, they had journeyed together in cultivation, jointly attaining imperial status, and waged battles across the celestial path, ultimately establishing the Heavenly Sword Palace and unifying the 9 heavens and 10 earths. The brilliance of their journey left Ji Xian in awe. The great Emperor Kunpeng, with tears streaming down his face, appeared as a majestic yet humbled figure, weeping like a beggar despite being an unparalleled powerhouse. At this moment, the true agony for him was the flood of memories that surged through his mind. The recollections of that person had manifested countless times, yet he could not grasp their appearance or name. Perhaps, what resides within his heart is not merely a tale, but an obsession, a fixation that impedes his ascension to immortality. So, you have resolved to venture forth alone to meet your demise? Ji Xian inquired. The great Emperor Kunpeng nodded, stating, without me, there would be no immortals in this world, and thus the cataclysmic tribulations of the ages would never descend. Why must it be this way? What do you seek? Ji Xian probed, attempting to aid the great Emperor Kunpeng in rekindling his lost memories. Through this method, he might be able to help suppress the overwhelming force within him. Should this prove ineffective, Ji Xian would have no choice but to quell the impending tribulation himself. Just as he uttered a single word, the voice of the great Emperor Kunpeng faltered, as if parched, rendering him incapable of uttering another syllable. Yet, his face flushed crimson as he strained to recall something, anything. Even in the face of death, even in departure, he yearned to behold that radiant light within his heart. Suddenly, he coughed up a mouthful of blood, toppling the teacup before him. In that instant, the brightness in the great Emperor Kunpeng's eyes dimmed significantly. His internal restraint had reached its limit. Any further contemplation would shatter the balance and hasten the arrival of the tribulation. Sighing, Ji Xian realized that he would likely need to intervene himself. Thunderous roars echoed from beyond the heavens, growing ever more ferocious. This was a terror emanating from the cosmos. The ancient thunder tribulation could obliterate the universe with but a single bolt of lightning. Another deafening crack resounded, as the fury of the tempest caused the very firmament to quiver. The scent of annihilation began to permeate the air, transforming the inky sky into a deep crimson. Dimly, Ji Xian perceived the manifestation of red lightning beyond the cosmic barriers, eager to breach this realm. All beings in the North Sea fled in terror. Even the bloodthirsty predators abandoned their murderous intent, resorting to sorcery to preserve their lives. Indeed, the aura of the tribulation was not confined to this locale. Concurrently, the entire universe bore witness to this horrifying spectacle. In the ancient Ji clan, Ji Changxing stood resolutely upon a sacred mountain, gazing at the celestial lightning on the horizon. A flicker of agitation flashing in his tranquil eyes. Could it be that someone is approaching the tribulation of immortality? This revelation sent shockwaves through the ranks of the Ji clan's leaders, who stood bent in reverence behind him. Is what you say true, young ancestor? Is this indeed the tribulation? The clan leader asked, his voice laced with trepidation, yet tinged with respect. The youth before him had merged with the remnants of the ancient Xianyuan ancestor's soul, surpassing the standing of all elder members of the Ji clan, to the extent that even the great ancestral emperors could not intervene excessively in his affairs. Indeed, it is the tribulation. I have ascended to the immortal realm before, and I cannot mistake it, Ji Changxing replied. Should the Ji clan mobilize its resources? The clan leader queried. The tribulation could annihilate all, yet the Ji clan, with its profound heritage dating back to ancient times, remained confident in its survival. Ji Changxing turned away, shaking his head. There is no need. The universe is currently engulfed in a great calamity. The vitality is still robust, and with the heavenly emperor poised to attain enlightenment, this conflict shall not lead to destruction. Engage in other matters. Prepare a vehicle for me to Bailu Academy. The head of the Ji family was somewhat taken aback and inquired, young ancestor. Bailu Academy is filled with prodigies of the present age, hardly worthy of your attention. May I ask why this is so? He truly found it difficult to comprehend the intentions of this young ancestor. Do not inquire into what should remain unasked, Ji Changxing remarked, and gracefully departed from the crowd. On the imposing sacred mountain of Ming Mountain, a venerable elder clad in a purple robe stood at the summit, his expression grave as he gazed at the celestial thunder above. He was the second lord of Ming Mountain. Our celestial beings of Ming Mountain have yet to awaken. Whose tribulation is this? The second lord pondered with closed eyes. Suddenly, the void behind him unfurled like a canvas, revealing a formidable warrior stepping forth. Old Lu, how has your investigation progressed? The second lord inquired without turning around. The sixth lord replied, it is confirmed. Old Ba has perished, and Old Zhou's whereabouts remain unknown. However, he is likely still alive, for the soul lamp of the ninth hall has not extinguished. I have visited the site of Old Ba's demise, and detected the presence of Old Zhou there. The second lord turned, a frown etched upon his brow. What? Do you suspect Old Zhou has betrayed us? The moment the words escaped his lips, the temperature around them plummeted, and a chilling aura of murderous intent enveloped the realm, sending a shiver down the sixth lord's spine. Cold sweat beaded on the sixth lord's forehead as he sensed the lethal atmosphere, and quickly exclaimed, No, no, no. Old Zhou is innocent. I suspect he has either been kidnapped or is under some form of control. The perpetrator is likely the individual who seized the young emperor's coffin in the Wooding Divine Sea. Simultaneously, he mused to himself, Old Ba is dead. Yet the second lord showed no concern. Why bring up Old Zhou with such gravity? The second lord's brow unfurled. Have you attempted to divine the identity of that individual? In response to the second lord, I could not ascertain any details. They likely possess considerable strength. However, based on the images received from the ninth hall, we only discerned a figure clad in white, obscuring their true visage. They must be of the human race. I propose we begin our search in the 3,000 states, as that is where they vanished, and the emperor's coffin may also be present there, the sixth lord suggested. The second lord nodded in agreement. Delegate this task to your subordinates. You and Old Qi shall venture into the void space to investigate the situation there. I warn you once more, regardless of the circumstances, Old Zhou must be returned to me alive. Understood. Chapter 260. The Calamity of Ascension Beyond the Boundless Cosmos. Celestial thunder roared, its presence igniting fervor across the 9 heavens and 10 earths even before its descent. The crimson lightning, thick as dragons, loomed in the sky, each bolt resembling an unfathomable abyss, as a crack echoed through the heavens. The sky blazed crimson, casting an apocalyptic visage over the entire realm. Many emperors deduced that this was the legendary tribulation of ascension. This news swiftly spread across various universes, leaving all cultivators in a state of astonishment. The Holy Lands embroiled in conflict became increasingly frantic, launching aggressive offensives and absorbing other factions in a bid to amass strength, striving to survive this impending calamity. The turmoil across the land intensified as flames of war engulfed the 3,000 states, Shengu Wu, the ancient wilderness, Beidou Tian, Yuanming Tian, Bailuo Tian, and other regions. Yet, the forest of Beihai remains enveloped in silence. The white robes of the great Emperor Kunpeng have been stained crimson with blood, a testament to the immense sacrifices he has made to suppress the descent of the celestial tribulation, even at the cost of his very essence. Sighing, Ji Xian gazes upon the struggling figure of the great Emperor Kunpeng and softly speaks, "Do not torment yourself any longer. Allow me to take over." Under the perplexed gaze of the great emperor, Ji Xian strides forward, treading upon the void, ascending towards the starry expanse beyond. "My friend, this is of no concern to you. Return at once. You cannot withstand the tribulation," the great Emperor Kunpeng weakly implores. He has been rendered utterly feeble, deliberately suppressing his own strength prior to the tribulation, enduring the relentless onslaught of celestial power alone. Ji Xian continues on, leaving behind a solitary silhouette, declaring, "Fear not. Though there are no immortals in this realm, I stand here." As he finishes his words, two streaks of light descend from the heavens, revealing two weapons, a broken sword and a short blade, each emanating a profound essence of the white tiger. The moment the great Emperor Kunpeng lays eyes upon these weapons, his pupils constrict sharply. A wave of bitter memories floods his mind, and an image of a valiant face surfaces within his heart. Time seems to shift. In that fleeting moment, the great emperor feels as though millions of years have passed before him. To his astonishment, remnants of his past still linger in this world. Tears well in the corners of the great emperor's eyes, yet a glimmer of light sparkles within his gaze. "My friend," he attempts to raise his head. But Ji Xian has already departed from this realm. In the cold and desolate depths of the universe, a figure clad in white transforms into a stream of light, vanishing into the void. The realm of nothingness is a bleak abyss, eternally shrouded in darkness, where the laws of the great Tao are in disarray. Even an emperor must tread cautiously within. Currently, strands of celestial thunder drift through this void, sharp and lethal like fanged serpents. The thunderous roars resonate, each bolt of lightning spanning thousands of feet wide, capable of forcing even the great Tao to retreat merely by passing through the void. The power of the celestial realm possesses the capacity to obliterate and subdue all. In the absence of immortals across the heavens and the earth, whoever wields the celestial artifact commands universal respect. However, the celestial thunder appears to be red. Ji Xian gazes at the crimson lightning, his brow furrowing slightly in confusion. Although the tribulation of ascension is tumultuous and fierce, it ought to embody the purest and most exalted manifestation of the great Tao, exhibiting auspiciousness. Yet, the current celestial thunder seems anomalous, as if tainted by the forces of darkness. Upon this realization, Ji Xian's eyes widen in surprise. Could it be that even immortals are susceptible to such corruption? Driven by the quest for truth, Ji Xian propels himself towards the epicenter of the thunderous sea. The chaos bell hovers above him, and strands of chaotic energy descend like mist, enveloping him in protection. The central area has already been engulfed by the lightning, rendering it perilous. After careful observation, Ji Xian indeed perceives the presence of dark power, partially suppressed by the heavenly laws governing the 9 heavens and 10 earths, yet not fully manifested. Ji Xian channels his energy to grasp a strand of lightning, murmuring to himself, "In the realm of the 9 heavens and 10 earths, celestial beings have emerged, indicating that the heavenly laws here are not significantly weaker than the true path of the immortals. Had there been no heavenly laws to counteract it, the dark-tinged celestial thunder would have obliterated the 9 heavens and 10 earths." Ji Xian positioned the chaos bell before him, endeavoring to connect with the tribulations of the immortals. He gradually lifted his right hand, from his palm emanating a life seal belonging to the Kunpeng Emperor. This seal, which he had obtained from the ancestor of Yin and Yang in the primordial Forbidden Zone, was left by the Kunpeng Emperor during his youthful wanderings through the world. The life seal, rendered in shades of black and white, fluctuated between the forms of a Kun and a Peng, continuously evolving with the forces of Yin and Yang. Ji Xian proceeded with utmost caution. The tribulation is both a trial for cultivators and the foundation of their cultivation. Any external interference during the tribulation could lead to light damage to one's essence or, in severe cases, result in death and the extinguishing of one's path. Thus, in Ji Xian's hands lay not only his own fate, but also that of the Kunpeng Emperor. As Ji Xian manipulated the seal, it sank into the chaos bell, resonating with its body, allowing him to draw closer with its power. The thunderous sea stretched for countless miles, marking a lengthy and intricate process. Years later, 2 formidable cultivators flew in from the depths of the starry sky. One was a robust warrior clad in armor, while the other was a fiery horse adorned with dragon horns and wings of flame. They halted several 100,000 miles away from the thunderous sea. The fiery horse inquired, "Is this the place you spoke of, Old Six?" The mighty warrior affirmed, "Indeed, this is the very location indicated by the second Lord's coordinates." Suddenly, a divine whip formed of lightning lashed out towards them, manifesting the freedom of the rules. The whip, spanning tens of thousands of miles, was woven from arcs of lightning and imbued with celestial energy, writhing like a true dragon as it danced towards them. Not good. The expressions of the two emperors shifted dramatically as they simultaneously raised their hands, unleashing billions of divine lights that coalesced into a protective screen. Boom. A tremendous collision ensued, shattering the screen in less than a moment, while the lightning whip was severed into hundreds of segments, sending the two emperors hurtling back for thousands of miles. They were compelled to land on an ancient star devoid of vegetation. The fiery horse rose, gazing towards the tempestuous thunderous sea, exclaiming, "A mere spark of lightning has repelled two supreme beings. Is this what the tribulation of the immortals entails?" Upon finishing his words, he stomped the ground fiercely, raising his head to the sky and emitting an excited neigh. Bang! Under the force of his hooves, the ancient star with a diameter of 1,000,000 miles erupted instantaneously, scattering countless meteoric fragments into the depths of the cosmos. As the robust warrior regained his footing, he nearly stumbled once more. He cursed, "Old Seven. Can't you be a bit more composed?" The fiery horse chuckled awkwardly. "My apologies, I got too excited and lost control. However, we managed to withstand a bolt of the celestial tribulation together. That is something this emperor can boast about for a lifetime." The robust warrior cautioned, "Do not be too hasty. A single strike from true celestial thunder can annihilate a great world. The lightning we faced has already been weakened. It is possible that the heavenly laws are suppressing it, or perhaps someone has entered the center of the thunderous sea before us and has subdued something." The fiery horse, taken aback, exclaimed, "Is it possible that such a person exists in the 9 heavens and 10 earths? I believe it is still the heavenly laws." During their conversation, his peripheral vision caught sight of a shadowy figure. In the center of the crimson thunder sea, a solitary figure sat cross-legged, beneath an ancient clock that summoned the power of heavenly tribulations. Indeed, there was someone. The flaming steed exclaimed in surprise. The towering warrior followed his gaze and beheld a cultivator of human semblance seated there. Could it be him in white robes? He suddenly recalled the shadow he had seen on the screen of the 9th palace and the mission entrusted to him by the 2nd palace master. Who? The flaming steed asked, bewildered. That was the individual who had manifested in the 9th palace, allegedly having snatched the little imperial coffin, replied the towering warrior. Is this person truly so formidable, on the verge of transcending into immortality? We are certainly no match for him, the flaming steed gasped. If he truly ascends, not just we, but the entirety of the Nether Mountain combined would not suffice to contend with him. You worry too much. Although this person is deeply entrenched, his aura is evidently incompatible with the heavenly tribulation. This tribulation is not his. The towering warrior clarified. Is that so? Then this emperor can rest easy. What a twist of fate. The flaming steed became animated once more. He had diligently refined the path of fire, naturally possessing a tempestuous temper and a valorous spirit. Let us proceed to slay him. The towering warrior nodded in agreement, stating, Indeed, the current heavenly tribulation does not possess destructive power. We still have a chance to seize victory. Not only can we retrieve the imperial coffin, but we might also rescue the 9th. Just as the two emperors were about to strike, the void trembled, and a white-haired elder emerged. His hair was as white as snow, with one eye black and the other white, manifesting the stars, as fish and birds appeared in the air. Without hesitation, the Kunping Emperor extended a massive hand, summoning a colossal star system spanning millions of miles, hurling it towards the two emperors. Chapter 261. The Dominance of the Kunping Emperor Within the Void. The appearance of the Kunping Emperor caught the flaming steed and the towering warrior off guard. Before them, the white-robed elder manifested his imperial form, towering at 10,000 zhang. He resembled a divine being walking among mortals, with every gesture causing the starry river to flow backward, billions of stars being forcibly drawn forth. Boom! A colossal hand materialized in the darkness, as the dual energies of yin and yang swirled, pressing down upon the star domain. The starry river surged, cascading with 7-colored brilliance. Though it painted a beautiful scene, it concealed a chilling intent to kill. Kunping, how could you appear here? The flaming steed exclaimed in astonishment, the fiery aura surrounding him extinguished by his shock. How could this powerful being of the ascended realm, who had long guarded the North Sea, suddenly materialize here? The Kunping Emperor, with blood still staining his lips, stabilized his emotions and replied with calm resolve, to kill you. Quickly block it. As the terrifying killing intent approached, the towering warrior shouted, producing a hexagonal shield and summoning it forth. The shield rapidly enlarged, transforming into a black mountain that stood resolutely before them, exuding a formidable aura. Alluding to its nature as a powerful weapon of destruction. Gritting his teeth, the flaming steed expelled a purple copper bell from his mouth, which was also a potent magical artifact. Billions of stars surged through the air, filling the void with brilliance, transforming the once dark and desolate space into a realm illuminated by starlight. Crack! Boom! Boom! A deafening explosion erupted, radiating blinding white light that engulfed the entire realm. This scene resembled the desolation of the cosmos at its inception, as if the heavens and earth had been obliterated. Countless stars burst forth simultaneously, shattering the dark, demonic mountain into fragments, while the purple copper bell was instantaneously reduced to scrap. The flame beast wailed in agony, its body torn apart, leaving only a mangled head suspended in the void of space. The plight of the towering knight was even more dire, as he bore the brunt of the annihilating force. His armor shattered, nearly succumbing to this lethal strike. The two supreme emperors, having existed for millions of years, barely managed to survive a single exchange with the Kunping emperor, teetering on the brink of annihilation. Ji Xian, amidst the thunderous sea, sensed the disturbance and glanced back. The Kunping emperor nodded at him with a smile. His appearance still haggard, yet significantly improved from before. "Fear not, my friend. I shall guard this place while you confront the tribulation." Ji Xian nodded in agreement. Meanwhile, the flame beast cried out in anguish, "Kunping, how dare you!" Its tormented screams resonated through the heavens. It expelled a golden talisman from its mouth, which it fiercely bit and shattered. In an instant, its mangled form was restored, crimson divine flames unfurling like a banner in the wind, as the flame beast remanifested its handsome and vigorous physique. On the other side, the fragmented armor glimmered with golden light, slowly reassembling as red eyes coalesced within the helmet's eye sockets. The Kunping emperor sighed, remarking, "You have indeed forged such a forbidden life replacement talisman. How many souls have you slaughtered for this sacrificial rite?" The flame beast straightened, declaring, "A being that does not ascend to the throne remains but an insect. In this grand era, the strong must dominate all. It is destiny." The Kunping emperor replied, "Very well. Even if you forge such a talisman, it matters not. I can slay you 1,000 times, and you shall return 1,000 times." The towering warrior, observing the situation keenly, remarked, "Kunping, if I am not mistaken, this is your celestial tribulation, is it not?" The Kunping emperor nodded in affirmation without contesting. "What?" The flame beast gasped, realizing the nature of the thunderous tribulation. Inhaling sharply, it suddenly felt that its previous exclamations had been overly loud. What is there to argue about? Upon receiving confirmation, the towering warrior was also taken aback. Instead of confronting the celestial tribulation, he chose to engage with these junior cultivators, such a venerable figure still reveling in pretense. "Why do you not cross over?" the towering warrior inquired. The Kunping emperor replied indifferently, "My path is incomplete. Even if I were to undergo tribulation, I could not become an immortal." The flame beast swallowed hard, asking, "Do you truly intend to kill us? If we wish to flee, you may not be able to stop us." Its tone betrayed a hint of insecurity. Before this formidable being, its former arrogance was subdued. In the realm of the peak of the feather transformation stage, there are no more than 5 such powerful beings across the vast heavens. The Kunping emperor stated, "If the master of the first hall of the underworld mountain were here, perhaps we could exchange a few blows. As for you, it would be futile. Today, I shall sever your ties until your sacrificial treasures are entirely exhausted." He waved his hand once more, intertwining divine light, as the dual energies of black and white surged forth, reminiscent of the primordial chaos re-emerging, with a colossal koan appearing in the palm of his hand. This koan stretched for countless miles, its body resplendent and shimmering, swaying its divine tail, rendering the stars dim in comparison. It opened its vast maw, unleashing a stream of divine radiance, akin to a brilliant river of stars cascading forth, encompassing hundreds of small star domains beneath, suppressing them. Bang, bang, bang. A fierce collision erupted once again, with no suspense. The bodies of the two emperors once more shattered. After millennia of cultivation, they proved to be no match for the Kunping emperor in a single clash. Time and again, through rebirth and demise, their spirits began to fray. Meanwhile, Ji Xian stood at the heart of the stormy sea of thunder, shielded by the chaos bell, steadily approaching the source of the thunderous tempest. He sought to harness the life imprint of the Kunping emperor to quell this tribulation. The immediate priority was to locate the origin of the heavenly trial. The closer he drew to the center, the more violent the thunder calamity became. Initially, only powerful waves of lightning danced about, but after penetrating tens of millions of miles, Ji Xian astonishingly discovered the manifestation of lightning. It was a grand army, composed of cultivators from myriad races, human, barbarian, ancient, demon, and sea clans. Although merely phantoms shaped by the rules of the immortal path, each possessed formidable strength, with every individual at the imperial level. They marched in groups, emerging from a luminous veil, advancing towards the periphery of the heavenly trial in search of those who would transcend it. Ji Xian gazed at the shimmering veil, lost in contemplation. It is often said that once a cultivator ascends, they may enter the celestial realm, and the heavenly tribulation descends from this realm as a test for the ascendant. As these ethereal spirits emerged from behind the veil, one wondered if the celestial realm lay concealed beyond. A thought quietly surged within Ji Xian. He felt an irresistible urge to glimpse the celestial domain. After countless millennia devoid of immortals across the heavens and earth, perhaps this was connected. As an emperor, Ji Xian understood that this path was one he must ultimately confront. He employed the power of creation to establish hundreds of grand formations, channeling his primordial spirit into the chaos bell, thereby deceiving the ethereal army and soaring towards the luminous veil. Ji Xian sought to avoid direct confrontation, for this was the tribulation of the Kunping Emperor. Engaging in battle with these beings could greatly impact the future tribulations of the Kunping Emperor, potentially damaging the source of the Tao, hindering further cultivation. The Chaos Bell continued its flight for a while, gradually nearing the veil. Chapter 262. A glimpse of the dark celestial realm behind the heavenly trial lay a vast screen obscuring the sky, where immense celestial power brewed, and the essence of a new world wafted forth. This unmistakably signified that beyond the veil lay the celestial domain. Did the celestial realm truly exist? With this question in mind, Ji Xian inched closer to that territory. Approaching the forefront, he activated the five-colored divine eye, his gaze pouring forth like a boundless river of stars, illuminating the screen before him. Beyond the veil was a realm of chaos, silent and still, with only the relentless surge of crimson lightning visible. After delving deep for several 100,000 miles, tangible visions began to gradually manifest. Amidst the ruins of a once magnificent architectural complex lay shattered walls and crumbling edifices, stretching into the depths of an unfathomable expanse. Ji Xian's gaze swept across these desolate remnants, where he discerned traces left by celestial beings. These were the imprints of divine power, faintly glowing upon the dilapidated structures. Ji Xian's eyes transformed into a vibrant, multicolored figure, descending into that realm of time. He stepped forward, picking up a gray brick for closer inspection. Alas, the passage of time had rendered the past's splendor unrecognizable. He estimated that these ruins had existed for over 1 billion years. Suddenly, his peripheral vision caught sight of an unusual stone brick. In the distance, a several-foot-long brick stood upright among the debris, resembling a monument, radiating a golden light. With long-dried black bloodstains upon its surface, Ji Xian raised his hand, seizing the stone tablet. Heaven has its purpose, giving birth to my Jinwu. The path is boundless, severing my celestial journey. The words, etched deeply into the tablet, and soaked in black blood, became manifest. Was this a celestial being who perished here, named Jinwu? Ji Xian repeatedly caressed the stone tablet, seeking to unveil its secrets. At the fracture of the tablet, he discovered a gap the width of a finger. Channeling his consciousness into it, he sensed an object within. With a resounding crash, he shattered the tablet, and a shimmering green tortoise shell burst forth, glistening like dew, though marred by an unsightly black spot. Just as Ji Xian reached to remove the blemish, an unexpected change occurred. The black spot, seemingly provoked, rapidly expanded, transforming into an eyeball the size of a human head. Get away! The black eyeball, upon seeing Ji Xian, emitted a terrified wail, releasing a piercing sound wave as if summoning something. A creature of darkness. Ji Xian's expression turned icy, and he immediately struck with a punch. Though merely a manifestation of his gaze, this blow possessed unmatched power, obliterating the black eyeball. Subsequently, black liquid splattered forth, conscious dark matter escaping from within the shattered eyeball. This dark matter, drawn by the scent of life, surged toward Ji Xian, intent on infecting and assimilating him. Begone! Ji Xian shouted. As the three celestial artifacts, the primordial heaven mirror, the primordial purple gold gourd, and the primordial spirit intent sword, instantly erupted from him, each casting forth a divine light that annihilated the dark matter completely. Suddenly, an explosion echoed, and the chaotic mist ahead receded slightly, revealing vague silhouettes. At last, Ji Xian beheld the devastated landscape in the distance. Countless divine mountains had collapsed, shrouded in a miasma of darkness. The once mighty river now flowed crimson, its surface littered with fragments of flesh and the remains of cultivators. They had once achieved enlightenment, yet now lay slain, reduced to this horrific state. The vast earth was further tainted by dark matter, a bleak expanse devoid of any living vegetation, where vitality had been supplanted by death. The celestial palace in the starry sky no longer gleamed with its former brilliance. It lay in ruins, teeming with a multitude of dark beings. As far as the eye could see, there was not a single inch of unblemished land, starkly contrasting with Ji Xian's vision of the immortal realm. Could it be that this realm has succumbed to the encroachment of darkness? Ji Xian murmured to himself. It seemed the dark entities had taken notice of him. Their calm demeanor shattered as they surged forth, claws bared and fangs bared. Ji Xian retaliated with a powerful punch, unleashing a torrent of five-colored celestial flames that shot through the air like a rainbow, instantly incinerating the dark creatures into ashes. Yet, waves of them continued to flood in, encircling Ji Xian. More precisely, they converged towards the shimmering barrier behind him. Attack! Attack! The dark beings clamored, their voices rife with excitement. They sensed that beyond the barrier lay the essence of a new world, the breath of life itself. Through the perception granted by the power of creation, Ji Xian comprehended their intent. Look, it is the realm that vanished long ago. There are living beings there. Let us feast. With a scoff, Ji Xian unleashed the tempestuous force of thunder and fire from his palm, combining these two formidable powers capable of annihilating everything. Instantly, a cacophony of explosions erupted as the advancing dark entities were cleaved into pieces. Augmented by the harvester's buff, the dark beings were utterly obliterated. Ji Xian did not linger. He turned and soared towards the heavens. He understood that the multitude of dark beings was far beyond his imagination. Previously, at the Star Domain Gate, he had spent a century vanquishing them. The dark entities in this region surpassed even those at the Star Domain Gate. With blinding speed, Ji Xian pierced through the initial barrier and returned to the void. He now realized that the shimmering barrier before him was the gateway to the immortal realm. However, it was possible that this realm was no longer what it once was. The celestial thunder raged on, showing no signs of abating. Without a soul to transcend, it would never cease. Upon witnessing that hellish scene, Ji Xian remained calm, betraying no hint of panic. Some truths he had long anticipated. The celestial thunder rumbled down. But the force sustaining it was not the powerful immortal path. It was the darkness of the immortal realm. The once sacred tribulation transformed into a thunderous calamity, a dire warning. Even if Ji Xian did not arrive to quell the tribulation, after the Kunping Emperor transcended, he would not achieve immortality. It was more likely that upon entering the immortal realm, he would become ensnared in a formidable siege, beset by powerful dark beings, devoured alive. Or worse, transformed into a dark Kunping. Should that occur, the heavens and earth would become even more perilous. For the dark Kunping would possess knowledge of all within the realm, leading the dark entities in a revolt against the heavens and earth. The Kunping Emperor likely foresaw this, which is why he refrained from obliterating everything, intentionally leaving behind a trace of will to restrain himself and avert tragedy. One must acknowledge the wisdom and foresight of such a venerable figure, a powerful being who genuinely cared for the safety of the entire realm. Ji Xian felt a profound respect for him from the depths of his heart. Bang, bang, bang. At that moment, dark creatures surged forth, relentlessly striking the luminous barrier, yearning to breach the boundary and devour this realm. Chapter 263. Manipulating the Heavenly Path. The Emperor's presence reflects the cosmos. The pristine barrier revealed a dense multitude of shadows. They were beings from that realm, having caught the scent of the vast expanse, eager to invade and conquer this place. Boom. Perhaps due to the encroaching darkness, the celestial thunder began to take on a peculiar nature. The crimson lightning transformed into a deep purple-black hue, emanating a sinister aura from its very core. Bang! With a resounding explosion, the first dark creature shattered the barrier and emerged. It bore 8 serpentine heads atop a human form, towering hundreds of feet high, radiating an icy chill. According to the cultivation realms of the cosmos, its power was at the great sage level. Roar! The 8 heads raised skyward in unison, emitting a fervent cry as it first entered this realm, eagerly anticipating a sumptuous feast. Following closely, a dozen more dark entities burst forth, each varying in shape, echoing the same reaction as the serpentine monstrosity. Their gaze fixated on Ji Xian, advancing toward him with heavy strides. This horde of dark beings lacked consciousness and intellect, resembling mere bloodthirsty automatons. Even when they sensed Ji Xian's aura, they felt no fear. Suddenly, a colossal net illuminated the heavens, golden lightning swirling within, pulsating with energy. In stark contrast to the lethal purple-black tribulation, the golden lightning exuded a divine essence. Ji Xian understood that this was the manifestation of the celestial laws of the cosmos. Initially, when the celestial tribulations descended, they remained within the permissible boundaries of the heavenly path. Now that these dark beings had breached the boundary, bringing with them the laws of the immortal realm, the heavenly path of the cosmos was compelled to manifest in order to repel these intruders. Boom, boom, boom. Golden divine lightning rained down continuously, striking the dark beings, causing their flesh to tear and eliciting their anguished cries. The first batch of beings that arrived in the cosmos was nearly annihilated by the heavenly path. Yet, they did not retreat. Instead, they continued to surge forth in overwhelming numbers. They crowded together, forming small mountains as they poured into this realm, their numbers reaching into the millions. However, most had not fully materialized before being subdued by the heavenly path, with only a fraction managing to emerge successfully. Ji Xian extended his divine perception. Noticing a distinct change in the power of the tribulation surrounding him, an idea flickered in his mind. Suppressing them with 3 pieces of primordial immortal artifacts would consume considerable time. The sword Dao, being of the same origin as the heavenly path, could be used to temporarily manipulate the celestial laws of this realm to subdue the dark beings and withstand the tribulation. Without hesitation, Ji Xian suspended the chaos bell above his head, then spread his fingers wide, unleashing 10 torrents of water that swiftly converged, forming the visage of the Sword Dao River. The grand golden palace emerged majestically, and the vast net in the sky seemed to respond to Ji Xian's call, gradually shifting toward his direction. Meanwhile, the Kunping Emperor instantly sensed the anomaly at the heart of the storm of lightning and turned his gaze in that direction. Upon witnessing Ji Xian wielding the sword path to subdue the dark beings, an astonishment surged within him. The dark entities had indeed descended. He could hardly fathom that Ji Xian could achieve such a feat. He had presumed that Ji Xian would utilize that celestial artifact to seal the portal through which the tribulations emerged, preventing their arrival. However, upon glimpsing the ominous dark beings, that assumption was utterly overturned. Yet, This also validated his prior conjecture that the crossing of celestial tribulations would inevitably invite darkness, whether one crossed the tribulation or not. Ascension to immortality was unattainable. What an opportunity! Suddenly, a burly warrior burst forth from the void atop a fiery steed, brandishing a blade aimed at the neck of the Kunping Emperor. Such a surreptitious assault proved futile. The Kunping Emperor did not even glance their way. With a mere gesture of his palm, the void collapsed extensively, sending both rider and steed reeling back for thousands of miles, bursting into a crimson mist. In a flash of golden light, both figures restored to their original state. The fiery steed, panting heavily, exclaimed, "Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! I have perished 58 times since just now, and I haven't even grazed a single feather of that old Kunping. If this continues for another 20 times, we shall be utterly finished." The burly warrior sighed in resignation. The disparity in strength was insurmountable. Even as supreme beings, they were powerless to contend. All he could do now was hope that the second and third palace masters of the underworld mountain would sense the disturbance and send reinforcements. Before the screen, Ji Xian bellowed, "Manifestation of creation." A radiant ribbon of creation emerged behind him, dazzling like the Milky Way. The Emperor of Creation fused with him, enabling a qualitative transformation and unleashing formidable might. In an instant, Ji Xian's raven locks turned snow white, and his black pupils were replaced by a kaleidoscope of colors. The manifestation of creation merged with him, altering his appearance. Subdue. A golden net hovered above the ancient palace in the river, emanating a brilliant golden light that illuminated the realm, dyeing the desolate void in gold. Not only that, but the cosmic gates across the 9 heavens and 10 lands opened, allowing golden light to permeate, conveying the scene to every corner of the world. Within the 9 heavens and 10 lands, above the towering clouds, a half-figure of Ji Xian materialized. With his back turned to all beings, clad in garments whiter than snow, his silver hair shimmered like the Milky Way, dancing in the gale. Suspended above him was a grand bell, ancient and weighty, as if it hailed from primordial times, capable of suppressing all through the ages. The imperial figure towered thousands of feet high, surrounded by the sun, moon, and stars, manifesting the vast cosmos across the 9 heavens and 10 lands. This commotion startled all cultivators in existence. At the primordial ancient mine, the emperors deliberating on their emergence beheld this spectacle, their faces darkening to the hue of liver. Even without seeing his visage, they could never forget the silhouette of this white-robed human. One emperor, covered in fur, roared, "The millennium mark is approaching. We are about to emerge, and we must cleanse the previous disgrace. The first battle upon our emergence shall be an assault on the underworld mountain." On the morrow of the rain, at the reincarnation sanctuary, the reincarnation emperor sat cross-legged atop a stone bell, mending his injuries as subtle tendrils of dark energy escaped from the nape of his neck. Previously, he had been besieged by several emperors and barely escaped with his life. The Temple of Reincarnation has thus suffered a grievous blow, losing 70% of its territory. Is he the one from the White-clad clan? He gazed towards the horizon, murmuring softly, as the ethereal gears of time whirled within his pupils. A flash of golden light surged into his mind. So it is, the great Emperor of Reincarnation gasped, a smile blossoming upon his face. Ha! Heaven has not forsaken the Temple of Reincarnation. Dragging his injured body, he made his way towards a loft, seated himself at a desk, and began to inscribe upon a piece of letter paper. Chapter 264. The White Deer Academy. The figure of the white-clad emperor stood majestically at the summit of the clouds, illuminating the heavens. The entire realm of the 9 heavens and 10 earths could behold Ji Xian's silhouette. At the divine ancient abyss, the White Deer Academy stood as the most illustrious institution in the realm, gathering prodigies from across the 9 heavens and 10 earths, each a phoenix among men, distinguished and remarkable. In the square, the talented disciples paused to observe the imperial figure on the horizon, engaging in fervent discourse. Where did this war erupt? Was it amidst the cosmic void? Alas, I am but a saintly sovereign, lacking the ability to traverse the vastness of the cosmos, one disciple mused, casting an envious glance at the distant apparition. No, that is not the cosmic void. The universe is not so dark. It must be the legendary realm of nothingness, where even a great sage would meet their demise. Another disciple interjected. One pupil, gazing at the shadowy beings, spoke with trepidation. What are those entities shrouded in dark mist? Merely gazing from afar sends shivers down my spine. Is this truly a battlefield? Why is it so indistinct? I sense it does not reside within our temporal space. A scholar well-versed in astronomy remarked. Nearby, several disciples from the Tao sect gathered, chattering animatedly. Mo Yuling rubbed her eyes, widening them as she peered towards the horizon. Wow, could that be our master? It seems quite possible. Mo Yue countered. No, that cannot be our master. His hair is black, while that figure S is white. Moreover, our master is not that tall. That figure stands above the clouds, almost as lofty as Jinyun Mountain. Suddenly, a sharp crack echoed as Mo Yue cried out in pain. She looked up at Mo Yuling, her expression one of grievance. Ah, sister, why did you do that? Mo Yuling exclaimed. You foolish girl, what does height matter? Just because he is tall does not mean he is not our master. Is our master not tall? Mo Yue retorted. Then tell me, why is our master so tall? Give me a reasonable explanation, and I will believe that figure is indeed our master. Mo Yuling pondered, stroking her chin thoughtfully for a long while, before suddenly clapping her hands together with excitement. I've got it. We have been apart from our master for several decades, surely. He has been eating well all these years and has grown taller. Oh, sister, you are so clever. Mo Yue exclaimed in exhilaration. Her gaze towards her sister transformed, her pupils sparkling with admiration. Witnessing this, Ling Yun and Ying Zheng exchanged looks of speechlessness. Sigh. Ying Zheng sighed, saying, both of you sisters are several hundred years old. When will you ever grow up? Ling Yun gently patted his shoulder, offering solace. Let us show a bit of understanding. My master has informed me that all cultivators possessing the twin sacred body will eternally remain at the stage of their awakening, both in physical development and mental maturity. The two junior sisters awakened their physiques rather early, which may mean they will forever remain in this state. Upon hearing this, Ying Zheng's eyes glistened with moisture as he lamented to Ling Yun. Brother, you cannot fathom how arduous the task my master has assigned me, caring for the two elder sisters. Woe is me. They wet the bed every night, and I must clean up after them. Furthermore, they refuse to eat vegetables, shun tomatoes, and will only drink plain broth without any rice. It is an endless struggle. I am utterly overwhelmed. Ling Yun remained silent, merely patting Ying Zheng's back gently, allowing him to vent his frustrations. Nearby, Horlinger stood in a flowing crimson gown, her face etched with concern as she gazed at the imposing figure on the horizon. At that moment, a commotion arose from the distant crowd. A few disciples turned their heads to see an extravagant procession halted before the gates of the White Deer Academy. Upon catching sight of the grand banner fluttering ahead of the convoy, one disciple exclaimed in disbelief, "It is the ancient Ji family. What brings them here? So far removed from the 3,000 states?" After enduring significant losses, the Ji family seemed to be taking new action. Were they here to send their prodigies for enlightenment? A roar erupted from the leading 12 battle beasts, and the knights dismounted, forming two lines to clear a path. An elder from the White Deer Academy remarked, with 12 quasi-emperors escorting them, it seems a person of great importance from the Ji family has arrived. These words startled the surrounding disciples. 12 quasi-emperors. And they are merely the advance guard. Is this truly the ancient Ji family? I thought they had been severely weakened by the Xuandi of the 3,000 states. How do they still possess such formidable strength? The elder replied, foolish child, this is the ancient Ji family, the former sovereign of the 9 heavens and 10 earths. How could they possibly wither away so easily? Under the intense gazes of the disciples, a young man clad in azure descended from the dragon chariot at the rear. He was tall and handsome, with long black hair cascading over his shoulders, exuding a faint celestial aura that rendered him ethereal and otherworldly. Immediately, several female disciples cast him longing glances, captivated by Ji Chongqing's enchanting presence. As he passed, the 12 quasi-emperors bowed their heads low, resembling humble servants in their reverence. This scene left the male disciples of the White Deer Academy feeling a pang of envy, pondering the vast disparities among cultivators of the same age. The elder of the White Deer Academy, not daring to be remiss, hurried to greet him. Ji family, Ji Chongqing, the young man proclaimed, standing tall and straight, showing no sign of deference even before an elder several ranks above him. The elder, once the first holy son of the Ji family, smiled politely, though internally astonished. For Ji Chongqing had been absent for 100,000 years. How could he still appear so youthful despite seemingly minimal advancement in cultivation? Ji family has an agreement with the illustrious Emperor Shuhua of the White Deer Academy. Chongqing has come to seek knowledge here, Ji Chongqing stated. Please, follow me. The elder instructed, turning to lead the way. An elder and a youth entered the mountain gate one after the other, arriving at the square. Amidst the throngs of people, Ji Chongqing undeniably shone as the most resplendent pearl, the focal point of the entire gathering. His striking appearance was not the sole reason for this attention. The immense prestige and power of the Ji family also played a significant role. He was an extraordinarily formidable figure. Ling Yun fixed his gaze on Ji Chongqing, instinctively placing his right hand on the imperial weapon at his waist. Mo Yuling remarked, this person is incredibly powerful. I believe he is already half as handsome as our master. Shall we go over and eliminate him? Yes. Let us go and slay him. Mo Yue chimed in with a smile, revealing 2 gleaming little tiger teeth, appearing exceedingly adorable. Upon hearing this, Ying Zheng felt a wave of dizziness wash over him, nearly collapsing on the spot. Goodness gracious, how can you utter such cruel words with such an innocuous appearance? Ji Chongqing cast a glance in their direction. Upon seeing several disciples of the Dao sect, his expression remained calm, devoid of any hostility, as he followed the elder deeper into the academy. Chapter 265, Predicting Crisis. Darkness begins to unveil. 30 years had passed since Ji Xin manifested the imperial form. The celestial shadow that once dominated the horizon had become less distinct, with most phenomena concealed by secret arts. This was the deliberate action of a great emperor, obscuring certain heavenly secrets to prevent younger cultivators from speculating excessively and causing unnecessary alarm. During this time, Aside from the ancient Ji family, several other formidable factions, including the ancient Jiang family, the ancient Wang family, the Snow Emperor Palace, and the Heavenly Beast Forest, gradually arrived at the White Deer Academy. Each of these factions, when standing alone, could shake the very heavens, yet now they congregated at the academy, creating a tremendous stir. They publicly declared the dispatch of their prodigies for training. But those with insight could easily surmise that a significant upheaval was on the horizon surrounding the White Deer Academy. In the evening, Ling Yun stood atop a cliff at the academy, leaning on his sword, gazing at the sky, lost in thought. Among the few senior brothers who had come to the academy, he possessed the highest cultivation and the strongest individual prowess. Thus, he naturally assumed the responsibility of protecting his peers. Aside from Ji Changsheng, there were several other extraordinary prodigies within the academy, each exhibiting remarkable potential and strength, which placed considerable pressure on them. Jiang Tianxing of the ancient Jiang family had reached the Saint Sovereign realm at merely 5,000 years of age, endowed with a divine physique and manifesting extraordinary phenomena, rendering him immune to all forms of attack. Wang Xian of the ancient Wang family, a master of artifact refinement at a tender age, was invited to become a registered elder upon his entrance into the academy, his presence overwhelmingly impressive. Additionally, there was the Ice Phoenix divine body from the Snow Emperor Palace, said to be transformed from a living Ice Phoenix and trained by the nine-tailed Great Emperor. Considered invincible among the younger generation, Wei Qi Hao, a direct descendant of the Wei Qi Emperor from the primordial wilderness, possessed a natural warrior's bloodline, with astonishing brute strength capable of tearing a dragon apart with his bare hands. And so forth, the list was endless. However, this was not the primary reason for his concern. A hidden force lurking in the shadows stirred restlessly, causing Ling Yun considerable distress. It seemed to stem from an instinctive perception tied to his very essence, an ineffable sensation. With a heavy sigh, he lamented, "Brother, what troubles you?" Ing Zheng inquired with genuine concern as he emerged from the nearby thicket. Ling Yun managed a faint smile. "Ah, it is you, Brother Ing. What brings you out tonight?" Ing Zheng produced a cauldron, revealing two sleeping figures, Mo Yue and Mo Yuling, who had nestled themselves within, deep in slumber. Ling Yun returned to his previous concern. "Lately, I have been under considerable stress. The number of people in the academy is steadily increasing, and I cannot shake off a foreboding sense." Ing Zheng jested, "Brother, as the leader of the Heavenly Sword Pavilion, you possess remarkable strength. Why harbor such fears? After all, you are a sword king, endowed with the potential of an emperor. I, a mere practitioner of the scholarly arts, navigate these uncertainties with ease. What do you have to worry about?" Ling Yun shook his head, feeling that this burden was not one to be shared with Ing Zheng, and deftly shifted the topic. "What of Master Linger?" Ing Zheng replied. "She has been absent for 4 or 5 years. The appearance of our master seems to have stirred something within her. She claims she will not emerge until she surpasses the Saint King." Ling Yun caught on to a thread of information and asked, "Brother, you are well versed in astronomy, geography, and divination. Do you have any knowledge of our master's current whereabouts?" He pondered if the ethereal figure in the sky was indeed their master. Ing Zheng affirmed, "That figure is undoubtedly our master. I have consulted with the river god within our sect, who confirmed this. As for her location, I am uncertain. She may reside in another universe or have departed from the 9 heavens and 10 earths. From what I have gathered, those manifested beings are creatures of darkness. The last time our master vanished for a century was due to them. It is likely we will not receive news from her anytime soon." Ling Yun gasped. "Creatures of darkness? Does that not place our master in peril?" Having inherited some ancient knowledge along with his Sword King constitution, he understood the terror these beings could instill. The once mighty Sword Emperor was gravely wounded by such entities. Ing Zheng replied, "I believe we should focus on our own well-being for now. The future of Bailu Academy does not appear promising. It may soon find itself engulfed in conflict." "What do you mean?" Ling Yun's interest piqued. Initially, he thought Ing Zheng had not sensed the underlying tensions. However, it seemed he had misjudged. Ing Zheng continued, "Previously, I employed divination techniques, which indicated that the Academy's fortunes are highly unstable. A significant crisis will undoubtedly erupt in the near future. Furthermore, I overheard some elders discussing the discovery of a celestial treasure within a great mountain of the Academy, which harbors the potential for ascension. I suspect this is where the intrigue lies. The opportunity for ascension may even attract the attention of emperors." Ling Yun nodded thoughtfully, murmuring, "That is true." While battles rage outside, the Academy remains serene, with so many powerful factions negotiating. Something extraordinary must be on the verge of emergence. Perhaps our master will arrive then. Ing Zheng mused. At that moment, Mo Yue, nestled within the cauldron, turned over and murmured in her sleep. Ing Zheng felt a shiver run down his spine, nearly causing his dragon robe to tremble. He feared she was about to awaken. He glanced at the dawn breaking on the horizon and said, "Well then, brother, I must take my leave. It is time to prepare breakfast for the two of them." Ling Yun chuckled. "Hee, take care, no need to see me off. Oh, by the way, do prepare a portion for me as well." Time flew by, and in the blink of an eye, a century had passed. The imperial shadow on the horizon grew increasingly ethereal, as if it were on the verge of vanishing completely. Yet, amidst this realm, an inexplicable force began to manifest. The cultivators were astonished to discover a peculiar black mist permeating the spiritual essence of heaven and earth. This force bore no harm. Rather, it enhanced the speed of cultivation. This revelation ignited a fervor for training, as everyone became engrossed in the pursuit of the black mist. However, the cultivators soon turned against one another, fiercely competing for the black mist, even resorting to acts of murder. This tumultuous period extended for 2 centuries, exacerbating the unrest across the land. What initially began as an era of contesting the heavens morphed into a relentless pursuit of darkness. Such a transformation boded ill. Eventually, the esteemed Bailu Academy led a coalition to denounce the use of black mist in cultivation. The powerful figures united in their proclamation, declaring the black mist to be a diluted embodiment of dark power, capable of hastening a cultivator's progress while simultaneously corroding their sanity. Prolonged exposure would lead cultivators to devolve into beings solely driven by consumption, slaughter, and plunder. In the following times, they rigorously scrutinized the cultivators within their domain who indulged in the black mist, executing a bloody purge. This campaign resulted in the demise of several quasi-emperors, with countless other saint-level cultivators falling victim as well. Yet, some cultivators remained obstinate, clandestinely continuing to absorb the black mist for their training. As anticipated, numerous formidable dark beings began to emerge from the lands surrounding the Bailu Academy, each exhibiting immense strength. They were bloodthirsty and ruthless, rendering their peers nearly invincible, capturing fellow cultivators with ease and leaving no hope for survival. To confront them, one often needed several times the combat power of their rank to subdue just one. This instilled panic among the cultivators, who now fully believed the warnings issued by the powerful figures a century prior, ceasing their consumption of the dark substance. Yet, this sentiment was held by only a fraction of the cultivators, and with significant factions failing to conduct thorough investigations into the dark material. Secretive sects dedicated to darkness began to take root. An emperor prophesied that this would sow the seeds of calamity across the realms. Chapter 266, Refining the Power of Darkness. The opportunity for ascendancy in a realm of void. Ji Xian stood beneath the Chaos Bell, holding aloft the towering ancient palace, deftly manipulating the golden net manifested by the heavenly Tao. Throughout these centuries, he had endeavored to mend the fissure connecting the celestial realm to the 9 heavens and 10 earths using this grand net, achieving notable progress. The celestial thunder was approaching its conclusion. Ji Xian had absorbed the majority of the lightning energy into the Chaos Bell, resulting in a marked tranquility within this space. The emergence of dark beings no longer instilled the same terror as before, with most being suppressed under Ji Xian's formidable will. Casting a sidelong glance at the void several million miles away, he noted that the Emperor Kuanpeng had slain both emperors of the Ming Mountain and was now seated in meditation, healing from his injuries. The surrounding void was suffused with dense black mist, rolling and surging like a vast ocean, stretching endlessly beyond the horizon. These are the fundamental rules of the immortal domain, a level significantly higher than the 9 heavens and 10 earths, and they linger persistently. Moreover, Ji Xian has discovered that a portion of this mist has already drifted into the various primary universes of the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Even the diluted black power could bring about catastrophic devastation to the realms. Ji Xian murmured. It was a force of inevitability, beyond his ability to thwart. In other words, this is the fate of the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Discovering the rules of the immortal path, would you like to reclaim and refine? The system's prompt echoed. Ji Xian understood that although these dark powers were peculiar, they undeniably stemmed from the immortal domain, belonging to the realm of the immortal path, and were greatly beneficial to practitioners. Reclaim. Commencing refinement and absorption. With Ji Xian's command, the eerie sea of black mist began to surge. The myriad branches of the divine tree within him swayed, manifesting the silhouette of a towering giant tree behind him. This colossal tree soared, stretching for countless miles, with each segment of its trunk resembling a universe, the dust on its leaves comparable to the size of stars. This was his own Tao fruit, independent of the system. In all the heavens and earth, there existed but this solitary tree. Rumbling. The divine tree, crystal clear, emitted a piercing roar that resonated throughout the void. In an instant, hundreds of transparent vortices appeared around Ji Xian, voraciously absorbing the dark powers. Absorbing, purifying. Note, the converted power will automatically be transformed into cultivation to nourish the host. The dark power entered Ji Xian's body, being purified by the system into immaculate immortal path energy, all converging towards the Xian Tai. The sea of black mist was immensely vast, broader than any expanse within the indeterminate divine sea, spanning countless miles. Ji Xian gasped, noticing a significant transformation occurring within the Xian Tai. The influx of immortal path energy spontaneously coalesced into a seed, resplendent with myriad colors, glistening and adorned with immense chaotic energy. Another seed. Ji Xian was bewildered. There was only one Xian Tai. How could it possibly nurture a second tree? System. What is this additional seed? Replying to the host. This is the immortal root, a catalyst for attaining immortality. Due to the prolonged disconnection between the immortal domain and the 9 heavens and 10 earths, the immortal path energy has been depleted, rendering the birth of immortals impossible. The host has not only acquired the first trace of immortal path rules absent for millions of years, but also a testament to the grand trend of heaven and earth. The emergence of this entity signifies that the heavenly Tao of the 9 heavens and 10 earths acknowledges the host, permitting the host to attain immortality within their realm. So remarkable. Ji Xian's expression tightened, yet his heart brimmed with joy. However, he pondered that this might originally belong to the Kunping Emperor. Never mind. Let us refine it first. He divided a strand of his primordial spirit and entered the Xiantai. The crystalline, multicolored seed lay quietly within the divine soil, radiating auspicious colors and dawn-like light. Just as he intended to reach out for it, an unexpected change occurred. The roots of the myriad Tao divine tree seemed to come alive, extending towards this direction, with hundreds of branches descending, directly seizing the multicolored seed. A peculiar sound echoed as the divine tree of 10,000 paths swallowed the rainbow seed whole. What the hell? Ji Xian's expression shifted dramatically as he rushed forward, extending his golden-tinged hand to strike the roots of the tree. Spit it out quickly. The divine tree, typically obedient to Ji Xian's commands, seemed to have gained a semblance of consciousness, heedlessly chewing on the seed despite his protests. A loud belch resonated as the divine tree retracted its roots. Falling silent once more, Ji Xian's face darkened, rendered speechless. Do not panic, host. The 9 heavens and 10 earths have acknowledged you. This is a form of qualification. Regardless of the seed's existence, you shall ascend to immortality. The system reassured. Let us hope so, Ji Xian replied glumly. Chuckle, chuckle. Who just laughed? Ji Xian snapped back to attention. The host is merely hearing things. It is just the two of us within you. Huh. Ji Xian casually dismissed the system's comment and centered his consciousness once more, closing his eyes to absorb the energies. A century later, after the divine tree consumed the rainbow seed, it underwent a remarkable transformation. Its branches and leaves grew lusher, frequently emanating a rich aura of immortality. The tree appeared to have expanded considerably, radiating an inexplicable might. Ji Xian committed these changes to memory. On the outskirts of the Sea of Black Mist, the Emperor Kunpeng sensed a disturbance and turned his gaze towards Ji Xian. Upon seeing the crystalline tree, he was taken aback. He never anticipated that Ji Xian would carve such a path, an immortal root, truly a genuine immortal root, with a broad vision and lofty aspirations. The Emperor Kunpeng did not perceive Ji Xian as having stolen his fruit of enlightenment, but rather felt gratitude towards him. The emergence of the immortal root signified that true immortals would undoubtedly appear in the 9 heavens and 10 earths in the future, representing a form of acknowledgement. Naturally, the first to ascend would be the one who possessed the immortal root, destined to lead them on the path of eternal life. The might of the immortal tree was vast, its presence stretching billions of miles, before entering the primary universe of the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Manifesting above the myriad heavens, it resembled an endless ribbon of light, embodying a 7-colored auspicious phenomenon, akin to a brilliant river of stars shimmering at the edge of the sky, without beginning or end. Lower-ranked cultivators were oblivious to the significance of this phenomenon, only aware that it was an existence beyond their reach. The earlier shock induced by the Emperor's image had far surpassed this, leading them to dismiss it as merely a strange occurrence. In a world where immense changes unfolded continuously, such an anomaly was hardly surprising. However, those who had entered the realm of emperors were deeply shaken by this spectacle. Only by stepping into this realm could one comprehend the true meaning of the 7-colored star river. This was the opportunity for ascension. In an instant, emperors from all directions stirred, emerging from their seclusion to seek the source of the star river. After countless eons of cultivation, worldly affairs became mere memories. Only the allure of immortality could captivate them. Chapter 267. The emergence of the primordial races influenced by the aura of immortality. Both Ji Xian and the Emperor Kunpeng entered a state of enlightenment. Originally regarded as a forbidden realm by the monks, the void space is now enveloped in the vast powers of the celestial path, transforming into a veritable sanctuary for cultivation. During their seclusion, time has flown by, and astonishing changes are occurring across the 9 heavens and 10 realms. In the second grand hall of the Nether Mountain, the second hall master lounged on his throne, exuding an air of nonchalance. Suddenly, a flustered guard rushed in. What is the cause of such haste? The second hall master inquired lazily. The life fires of the 6th and 7th hall masters have been extinguished. The guard responded in a tremor of fear. The gravity of 2 emperors' fall was indeed alarming. What if the second hall master became enraged and decided to eliminate him on the spot? To his astonishment, the second hall master merely replied, understood, as if the matter bore no relevance to him at all. This left the guard utterly bewildered. My lord, what I meant to say is that 2 hall masters have perished, he stammered, cursing himself internally for his indiscretion. Am I addicted to courting death? Enough. I have heard enough. You may leave. The second hall master waved his hand dismissively, signaling for him to depart. As the guard stumbled out, He couldn't help but reflect on the implications of such a lackluster response to the demise of two hall masters. It seems our days of ease as lowly servants are numbered. Within the hall, the second hall master straightened himself and called out to an empty corner, "Come forth." In an instant, a figure shrouded in black cloth appeared, kneeling before him. "Your subordinate is here. Go and open that grand door. Cast out two promising candidates for the position of quasi-emperors, and swiftly fill the vacancies left by the 6th and 7th hall masters," commanded the second hall master. "Understood." In the Taichu forbidden zone of the 3,000 prefectures, a raucous laugh reverberated through the mountains, shaking them to their very core. With a thunderous clap of a colossal claw, ancient mountains crumbled. The barriers swirling above were shattered in an instant. The heavens trembled, and the earth split open, revealing terrifying chasms and countless bottomless abysses, exuding the searing breath of magma. "Damn it, I can finally leave this wretched place." A gruff voice echoed from the depths of the forbidden zone. Once more, a massive claw reached out, casting a shadow upon the ground as if it were a cloud. Soon after, a colossal red-furred divine ape emerged, towering to the heavens, its stature dwarfing even the majestic ancient mountains. The red-furred beast radiated a primal ferocity, as if it had survived from the primordial era. On another front, dozens of gigantic tentacles lashed out, tearing through the air, causing the void to collapse and fissures to yawn open, unleashing a furious gale. "Huh, so many living beings remain. It appears this emperor shall feast well," chuckled the red-furred divine ape, surveying the multitude of cultivators below. Having been imprisoned for millennia, it had long forgotten the taste of blood. It opened its massive maw and inhaled fiercely. In an instant, a colossal vortex of air materialized, sending the cultivators on the ground spiraling uncontrollably into its depths. "Ah, what is this? Let me go? Cursed be it. Why has my quasi-imperial artifact failed? It is the might of an emperor. This simian is a great sovereign." Amidst the tumultuous air, cries of alarm resounded as various spells were unleashed, striking the red-haired divine ape, yet failing to even dislodge a single hair from its form. Rumbling echoed across the earth as a formidable tentacle writhed, mercilessly grinding groups of cultivators into a sanguine paste. The suction cups along the tentacle exerted their force, drawing in the bloodied remnants. Concurrently, several powerful auras emanated from the depths of the forbidden zone, heralding the emergence of primordial beings. The ancient races have returned. This astonishing news spread throughout the 3,000 states, instilling panic among the human cultivators of this realm. Historically, the ancient royal clans and humanity have been sworn enemies. Had it not been for the great Emperor Xianyuan utilizing the power of the ancient celestial court to seal them away, humanity would have likely faced annihilation. On the very day of their reemergence, scouts observing the periphery of the Divine Mountain relayed this intelligence back to the Ji family headquarters. Within months, all cultivators who ventured into the primordial forbidden zone in search of treasures were exterminated, with casualties reaching into the millions. The ground within the forbidden zone was stained crimson with blood, littered with white bones, a chilling aura of death permeating the air. The savagery and brutality rivaled that of the massacre during the emergence of the Celestial Emperor's palace. High-ranking members of the Ji family stood solemnly upon the mountains bordering the ancient mines, their expressions grave as they gazed into the depths of the forbidden zone. Among them were several formidable figures, the ancient ancestors of the Ji family, including those of hidden lineage. This preparation represented a significant mobilization of what the Ji family deemed their foundational strength. The red-haired divine ape, colossal as a star, moved with astonishing speed, traversing vast distances in mere strides of 1,000,000 miles. In just a few breaths, it reached the periphery of the forbidden zone. "Haha, Ji family. Is it you again? Do you intend to employ the same old tricks? You old fossils, nearing your graves, dare to emerge and court death? I advise you to retreat. My ancient clan bears a great grudge and seeks no entanglement with you. The heavens are devoid of immortals. None can impede us." Before the Ji family emperors, the red-haired divine ape displayed utter arrogance, showing no regard for their presence. An elder, leaning on his staff, approached, his hair white, yet his visage youthful, his beard long enough to touch the ground, and with a smile he said, "How can one know without trying? Though the ancient ancestor Xianyuan has passed, he left behind many means. He entrusted us with the mandate to protect humanity, and as his descendants, we cannot defy his teachings." With that, the red-haired divine ape opened its maw wide, letting forth a roar that shattered stone and gold, collapsing the clouds at the horizon. "Very well, I shall deal with you before moving on to the Mount of Hades. Let us engage in battle." In an instant, its massive red claw descended, shaking the earth and altering the very winds and clouds. The emergence of the ancient clan was not confined to the 3,000 states. The Jiang family in the sacred ancient dock faced a similarly dire predicament. The restrictions of the ancient clan's forbidden land have begun to wane, leading to the emergence of primordial races that wreak havoc upon the earth. In desperation, the Jiang family musters its forces to combat the ancient clans, sending shockwaves through the realm of cultivators. The imperial shadows manifest against the dark beings as dark matter resurfaces, heralding the arrival of the ancient races. The catastrophe of calamity has only just commenced, and the situation grows increasingly tense and fraught. A powerful diviner has prophesied that the realms of the 9 heavens and 10 earths shall face great tribulations. The current turmoil is merely a prelude, and the impending era of darkness may spell the annihilation of this land. Upon the revelation of this news, the world erupts in uproar. Chapter 268. The era of great strife. The balance of power in the 9 heavens and 10 earths has begun to manifest, officially igniting the era of great contention. The struggle among the mighty at the imperial realm, the fierce clashes among the holy realm cultivators, and even the conflicts among mortal realm practitioners permeate the entire cosmos. The emergence of the ancient clans from the Taichu Forbidden Zone and the divine Ancient Abyss collides violently with the 2 great archaic families, the Ji and Jiang clans. The discord between humanity and the primordial races has commenced. In the swift passage of a century, the 2 factions have clashed over 10,000 times, resulting in countless casualties among cultivators. This is a brutal war, with the 3,000 prefectures and the divine Ancient Abyss stained in blood, a sea of corpses. Observers on the periphery of the battlefield claim that even holy-ranked powerhouses perish within a month of entering the fray. This revelation sends shockwaves through the hearts of many. Previously, holy-ranked beings could serve as leaders of sacred grounds. Now, they have been reduced to mere fodder in the conflict against the ancient clans. The might of the ancient races has surpassed all expectations. Their physical prowess is formidable, and coupled with the enigmatic powers of antiquity, though few in number, they can often contend with 100 foes. Particularly, several ancient emperors of the clans frequently engage in battle, inflicting significant damage upon humanity. Fortunately, the Jiang and Ji families possess deep reserves, allowing them to stabilize the situation. The eruption of war between the archaic families and the Forbidden Zones has ignited a spark across the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Some demonic and beastly races, long concealed in the shadows, have begun to stir unrest, further exacerbating the turmoil. 200 years pass. At the White Deer Academy, the young elites of the 9 heavens and 10 earths converge, creating an atmosphere charged with rivalry and competition. Countless young prodigies, awakened from ancient slumber, join the academy to partake in the struggle. Tens of thousands of aspirants gather, each a promising talent, akin to the flourishing of a prosperous era, embodying vitality and potential. The likes of Huolinger and Ling Yun also participate, traversing various secret realms, vanquishing foes, seizing treasures, and diligently cultivating. Ling Yun stands out with exceptional prowess. Wielding imperial weaponry, he can cleave through celestial bodies, and even his peers struggle to withstand a single strike. He pushes himself relentlessly, deliberately placing himself in perilous situations to expedite his growth. The top-tier prodigies within the academy avoid crossing paths with him, aware that this dark horse cultivates the sword intent of life and death. Growing stronger the closer he draws to mortality, none dare to confront him head-on. His Sword King physique was consequently revealed, a revelation that sent shockwaves through the upper echelons of the academy. Ling Yun even received personal guidance from the illustrious Emperor Shuhua. The Sword King physique is exceedingly rare. Its previous bearer left behind an endless legacy in this realm. However, this matter also attracted trouble, as numerous clandestine forces sought to take action against him, validating Ling Yun's initial concerns. The former Sword Emperor, with his overwhelming prowess, had once suppressed many factions single-handedly, and no one wished to see his resurgence and reignite his former glory. Firelinger successfully broke through to the Sacred King realm, her innate advantages becoming apparent, and she was personally received by an emperor from the Fire God Plateau. During this period, an ancient emperor skilled in formations expressed his desire to take Mo Yue and Mo Yuling as named disciples. This was not only due to their exceptional talents, but also to forge a connection with Ji Xian for their benefit. Yet, to everyone's astonishment, the 2 young girls blushed and adamantly refused, leaving the assembled cultivators speechless. Typically, cultivators may go their entire lives without ever encountering an emperor, let alone being favored by one. With such a golden opportunity before them, their lack of appreciation bewildered their peers. Meanwhile, Ingzhang's movements were comparatively subdued. He practiced the supreme technique of deification, and with the presence of 4 ancient deities, Fu, Lu, Shou, and Shi, guiding him, he found no need for other instructors. 300 years passed. A shocking piece of news emerged from the Purple Mist Celestial Manor. The Purple Mist Emperor was slain by 2 formidable warriors from the Shantian Dao sect, impaled by a golden spear on a desolate mountain, weeping in regret. Witnesses claim to have seen that battle, where 3 supreme powerhouses clashed at the edge of the cosmos. Their battle intent surging, divine blood spilling across vast distances. The aftermath of their conflict alone could obliterate countless stars. Ultimately, the battle concluded with the victory of the Emperor Knight and the Valkyrie, both contract deities of Ji Xian, their powers in perfect synchrony, easily prevailing against one. They ravaged the Purple Mist Celestial Manor, leaving no survivors. Thus, a legacy that spanned millions of years was extinguished. The emergence of these 2 supremes could pierce the heavens themselves. Aside from the unsightly nature of the corpse, the Purple Mist Emperor met his end without injustice. Some might even say, with dignity. 400 years later, true conflict erupted between the Northern Dipper and the Reincarnation Holy Palace of the Yuanming Heaven. The two emperors of the Reincarnation Holy Palace suffered severe injuries, their territory ravaged by 90%, their fate hanging by a thread. Some claim that the Northern Dipper mobilized such forces against the Reincarnation Holy Palace solely for the sake of the young son of the Reincarnation Emperor, the Reincarnation Sacred Body. This physique is terrifying, requiring one to traverse the river of time to awaken and break through, placing immense risk upon the practitioner. A moment's negligence could lead to dire consequences. However, once awakened, the Reincarnation Sacred Body is exceedingly formidable as it pertains to the path of time. The Reincarnation Holy Palace's fortunes had waned, yet the Northern Dipper deliberately slowed the pace of war, seeking to carpet the Reincarnation Sacred Body for ulterior motives. 500 years elapsed. The Assassin Divine Dynasty launched an attack on the Xiantian Dao sect, but suffered a crushing defeat, losing over 100 quasi-emperors. While the ancient emperor of the Assassin Divine Dynasty was gravely injured and fled in disgrace. Unbeknownst to the origin of the leak, Ji Xian was absent from the sect, inciting the lurking forces harboring enmity against him to stir restlessly. The Dao sect was indeed a coveted treasure trove, sought after by many. On that fateful day, the ancestral figure of the Assassin Divine Dynasty, the God of Death Emperor, sought revenge for the desecration of his ancestral grave and mobilized the resources of the dynasty to launch a surprise attack on the Dao sect. Under the cover of a moonless, tempestuous night, thousands of assassins armed with forbidden weapons besieged the Xiantian Dao sect, only to be obliterated by a furry claw that emerged from the clouds. This claw belonged to a resplendent white jade qilin, adorned with silken white fur that exuded an aura of auspiciousness. After vanquishing the entire horde of intruding assassins with a single swipe, it retreated its claw in irritation, grumbling about the disturbance to its slumber and threatening to reassign them to cotton planting and waste disposal duties. The God of Death Emperor, incensed, prepared to strike down the qilin. However, a figure clad in gray emerged, wielding a golden and silver battle axe, and with just a few deft maneuvers, severely wounded the God of Death Emperor. The typically cautious emperor, without hesitation, fled to escape this calamity. This so-called war between the forces of eternity concluded in less than half an hour, resembling a farce. The slumbering populace remained blissfully unaware of the commotion. Yet, this farce inadvertently unveiled a portion of the Dao sect's strength. Observers speculated that the two figures who appeared were both emperors, unparalleled powerhouses within the imperial realm. The existence of such formidable emperors in a sect established merely a millennium ago astonished practitioners from all factions. This served as a deterrent, compelling the covetous forces lurking in the shadows to retreat into silence, deterred from further mischief. Chapter 269, Millennium Period, 700 years. In the realm of the 9 heavens and 10 earths, at the borderlands, lies an endless expanse of desolate desert, a separating barrier between the myriad races of the 9 heavens and 10 earths and the ancient tribes beyond. On the horizon stands a colossal and magnificent city. The city walls rise high, with each brick and stone as immense and weighty as the stars themselves. The black walls loom like a vast abyss, stretching beyond sight. Common practitioners standing beneath the walls appear as insignificant as dust, gazing upward, unable to see the other half of the sky beyond the battlements. This is an imperial city, where countless generations of soldiers have stationed over millennia, silently guarding the 9 heavens and 10 earths against the incursions of ancient tribes from beyond. Several hundred miles beyond the walls, tens of thousands of prisoners toil to construct new fortifications. Shackled by fetters and clad in prison garb, they shuffle along with hunched backs. They are the transgressors of this realm, exiled to the borderlands to build fortifications as punishment for their grave offenses. Their faces are rigid, and their gazes vacant, resembling mere living corpses. Arriving here means there is no hope of survival. Each individual is destined to labor unto death. This is their fate. Among the crowd, a strikingly handsome youth struggles to lift a starry brick, placing it upon the wall. Breathless, Ji Mingho gasps for air, his face flushed crimson, and his limbs tremble involuntarily. Ji Yuanzhong, watching from behind, felt a pang of sorrow. He set down the stone in his hand and stepped forward, saying, "Child, take a moment to rest. These bricks can only be lifted by those in the Sacred King realm or above." Observing his grandson's plight, his heart was heavy with both desolation and helplessness. The grandfather and grandson were sent to the border by the higher-ups of the Ji family due to the downfall of the great emperor, forced to partake in laborious duties. In recent centuries, the ancient clans had intensified their assaults on the realms of the 9 heavens and 10 earths, driven by an urgent desire for something seemingly embodied in that imperial shadow. With consecutive battles erupting, the border suffered grievous losses, with numerous defensive structures destroyed, significantly increasing the workload for these sinners. Ji Mingho turned back with a smile, wiping the sweat from his cheeks and forehead, and declared, "Do not worry about me, grandfather. This is a trial of the mind. On the day I emerge, I shall astonish the world." He raised his gaze to the imperial shadow, his eyes shimmering with admiration and longing. That silhouette was all too familiar to him. In the next moment, an unknown force surged through him. invigorating his spirit and accelerating his pace in moving bricks. Thus, the toil of bricklaying continued day by day, year after year. Whenever Ji Mingho felt he could not persevere, he would gaze toward that imperial shadow. Senior, you promised you would come. I await your arrival. After Ji Xian's uproar in the Ji family, he had vowed to personally retrieve Ji Yuanzhong and Ji Mingho. This promise became the sole belief that sustained the grandfather and grandson in their existence at the border. Having been forsaken by the Ji family, this commitment represented their everything. Ji Yuanzhong followed his grandson, feeling a twinge of pain each time he witnessed his unwavering dedication in such harsh conditions. He understood what the child was waiting for and hoped desperately for that arrival. In the first millennium, in a small city in Xianzhou, within a secluded residence, "Father, how are you?" A young man clad in simple garments knelt beside the bed, his eyes brimming with tears as he gazed at the frail elder lying there. He was known as Xiao Yu, the son of the old man. The elder's hair was tousled, his complexion poor, and the lines on his face deepened with age, making him appear as old as time itself. Xiao Dou forced a tender smile through his pain, saying, "Child, your father is nearing his end. Prepare for the inevitable." "No, father, you cannot leave," Xiao Yu wailed, collapsing in tears at the bedside. Xiao Dou extended his frail hand to gently caress his son's face. "Child, you have attained the sacred realm and can stand on your own. Make good use of the peaceful environment within the Dao sect, survive, and grow stronger. Remember, serve the Dao sect. Serve the Lord of the Xian Emperor." Though his breath was faint, he exerted all his strength to utter these words. A violent cough erupted, and Xiao Dou lay back, his eyes vacantly staring at the ceiling, as memories of his life flashed before his mind. Born into a destitute farming family, he possessed some modest talent for cultivation but struggled to reach the tribulation crossing stage, unable to become a saint for so long. He had to rely on ferrying others to support his ailing mother, living a life of hardship. Naturally malnourished, he was thin and unattractive, and by middle age, he had still not married, enduring daily bullying and ridicule from his peers. He had once resigned himself to a life of despair until a figure clad in white appeared. This white-clad individual chose him, instilling within him a glimmer of hope that led to marriage, fatherhood, and the creation of a blissful family. Though calamity later beset his household, his beloved youngest son survived, accompanying him for nearly a millennium. Now, that son has attained sainthood and established his own family, with everything seemingly progressing towards a promising future. As for the old man, his time was drawing near, wasn't it? It was Ji Xian who had bestowed upon him the hope of life. And it was also Ji Xian who had given him a purpose to pursue. At this thought, a heaviness settled in Xiao Dou's chest. He realized his days were numbered. "Grandfather." Several children rushed in, accompanied by a woman. "Cough, cough. Be good now." Xiao Dou struggled to rise, managing a smile as he tenderly caressed their rosy cheeks. "Father, I know how to save you," Xiao Yu declared, determination etched on his face. "All we need is a single high-grade saint herb, and it can help you break through the saint realm and extend your life." Xiao Dou could only smile wryly, advising his son to abandon such futile efforts. A high-grade saint herb was a luxury reserved for the saint lords and great saints. It was beyond their means. "No," the youth insisted, tears streaming down his cheeks. "I can sell my saint heart to buy that herb for you." Xiao Dou's expression darkened. "You ungrateful child, absolutely not. If you lose your saint heart, you will fall into the mortal realm, which you have only recently escaped." The young man turned away resolutely, saying, "Father, please don't say any more." With that, he produced a sharp knife, aiming it at his own chest, intent on plunging it in. "Father, no. Husband." The woman and children rushed forward to stop him. Without the young man, their family would be shattered. The youth hesitated, the blade trembling in his hand. To pierce his heart would save his father, but it would leave his family unprotected, leading to their tragic demise. Just then, a five-colored sparrow alighted on a branch outside. It was a creature of exquisite beauty, its feathers silky as satin, its little head bobbing animatedly. As Xiao Yu beheld it, his eyes widened in astonishment. That little bird was holding a saint herb. No, this was not merely a high-grade herb. It was a supreme saint herb imbued with the essence of longevity. Xiao Yu's heart raced. This herb could save his father. However, the aura emanating from the five-colored sparrow, a being of the Saint King realm, stilled him. Such a formidable creature was beyond his capability to confront. Chirp, chirp. The five-colored sparrow seemed to sense Xiao Yu's thoughts, tilting its head before dropping the saint herb. Under Xiao Yu's astonished gaze, the sparrow flapped its wings and vanished from the branch. Chapter 270. Breaking Through Two Realms, Supreme Path, Two Exceptional Rewards in the Void. The rift in the celestial domain had been repaired. The fog, formed from dark powers, had significantly thinned, nearly becoming transparent. At the center, Ji Xian sat in meditation, exuding an aura of magnificence, his eyes gently closed, radiating a flow of celestial brilliance as ethereal energy swirled around him. He was enveloped in a radiant golden glow, every pore exhaling the essence of the universe, draped in a delicate veil of white. This was the manifestation of energy absorption taken to its zenith. Slowly, Ji Xian opened his eyes, exhaling deeply, as the vibrant hues of his irises gradually faded, and his once snowy white hair darkened at an observable pace. He extended his right hand, calculating with a gesture, murmuring, "It has been over 1,000 years. The sacred power within me has reached saturation. It is time for a breakthrough. System, please activate the Disciple Cultivation Interface. Opening. Loading. Fire Spirit, Mid-Saint King Realm. Ling Yun, Early Saint Venerable Realm. Mo Yue and Mo Yuling, Perfected Saint King Realm. Ing Zheng, Perfected Saint King Realm. Sun Huolong, Early Saint Venerable Realm. Qing Qing, Early Saint Venerable Realm. The darkness absorbed alongside the energy returned fully. Ji Xian noted, triggered a 7.12 million times return probability, estimated. Supreme Tao Realm. Returning. Immediately, a tremendous surge of sacred power erupted from Ji Xian's core, ascending upward against the direction of his spine. With a series of cracking sounds, the shackles of the mid and late stages of the Supreme Realm were effortlessly shattered, subsequently breaching the thresholds of the Tao Realm. In the external world, a colossal golden Taiji circle manifested beneath Ji Xian, spanning hundreds of thousands of miles. This was his supreme Tao domain, now even more formidable after breaking through 2 realms consecutively. The golden Taiji circle resonated with a harmonious sound, as if it could give rise to all creation. The Tao surged like an endless ocean, enveloping Ji Xian in a sea of golden energy. Chaos, creation, space, swordsmanship, fire, water, and the path of self manifested above, intertwining and pulsating with auspicious energy. A tremendous roar echoed, and at that moment, Ji Xian's physical body and primordial spirit merged, nearing the state of unity with the Tao. 10 years passed before the tumult subsided, and Ji Xian solidified his cultivation. This time, he had amassed a great deal, directly leaping from the mid-stage of the Supreme Realm past the late stage, achieving the minor realm of the Tao, crossing 2 realms in succession. System. Have you perhaps forgotten something? Ji Xian brushed off the dust from his attire. Please proceed, host. What of the experience reward for my prolonged seclusion? A millennium has passed, and you remain silent. You caught me. It was intentional, haha. Such a long duration, yet you still recall the previous reward mechanism. Impressive. Hearing the cold yet humorous tone of the system, Ji Xian unusually refrained from retorting. Indeed, it had been a millennium. This retreat had been longer than any before. He pondered how the outside world had transformed, likely into chaos. Those few youngsters had certainly improved in their realms. But he wondered if they had faced any adversities at the Bailu Academy. Memories flickered through his mind. After such an extended retreat, some finer details had become hazy. Let us return the experience rewards, Ji Xian suggested. Due to the system's prolonged neglect in returning the experience rewards, the accumulated stock has become uncountable, hence the system advises. Please advise. The system suggests fusing all inferior rewards into 1 or 2 top-tier rewards. How does the host feel about this? Indeed, let us hasten, for I am famished and in need of sustenance. Congratulations, host, for acquiring the supreme artifact, the Black Dragon Dominance Spear X1, and the unparalleled divine technique, Spear Sutra X1. Oh, you truly are remarkable, Ji Xian remarked, gazing in astonishment at the 2 treasures within the system's domain. Artifacts and techniques bearing the epithet supreme are, indeed, formidable. Previously, he had wielded a chaotic bell to withstand the legendary tribulations of the immortals, subduing countless dark beings, showcasing a power that transcended all heroes of both ancient and modern times. Now, with the addition of a supreme divine spear, there should be no rivals left in this realm. Utilizing a moment of enlightenment with the technique Spear Sutra, enlightenment and progress, instantly. A torrent of spear principles surged into Ji Xian's mind. This scripture, named Spear Sutra, bore a succinct title, yet the profundities contained within were remarkably straightforward. Though it comprised but a few techniques, it encompassed the methods of wielding all long-range weaponry known to the world. Among all weapons, the spear is revered above all. In ancient times, a great emperor attained enlightenment through the spear. When it was unleashed, myriad paths fell silent. Now, having mastered the supreme spear technique, Ji Xian truly felt the terrifying essence of this weapon. What an excellent technique, Ji Xian remarked, opening his eyes and emerging from the state of comprehension. The Black Dragon Dominant Spear. In an instant, a spear, entwined with dark energy, materialized in Ji Xian's grasp. The black spear shaft was adorned with the engraving of a golden dragon, its golden scales, crimson eyes, fluttering whiskers, and a mouth that exhaled vitality made Ji Xian momentarily believe it to be a genuine dragon. A surge of potent energy coursed through Ji Xian's palm, as if it were on the verge of erupting. He sensed that had he not, as the master, firmly grasped the spear, it might have shattered the void and flown away on its own. Named after the black dragon, yet possessing a golden dragon's form, how intriguing. He tightened his grip on the spear and gently thrust it forward. Boom. In an instant, a torrential wave of power poured forth from the spear. As dark winds coalesced into a mighty river, fierce and tumultuous, its waves towering high. Faintly, a black divine dragon shimmered within, charging forth, leaving shattered stars in its wake. The laws of the void's pathways seemed to shun the power waves emitted by the spear as if afflicted by misfortune. Crash. The The dragon's energy erupted deep within the cosmos, causing a desolate world to crumble at a perceivable pace. Boundless chaotic energy spilled forth, obliterated by the dragon's force, resulting in the destruction of a world capable of harboring billions of beings. Fortunately, this was a barren realm devoid of life. Otherwise, calamity would have ensued. Ji Xian chuckled. The black spear let out a soft hum, its dragon energy surging forth as if in response to Ji Xian. Here, matters were momentarily concluded. He rose to his feet, brushed off his hands, and sheathed the black dragon-dominant spear, once again summoning the river of sword Dao to disperse the golden net above him. This golden net, a manifestation of the heavenly laws, could attract relentless tribulations if worn for too long. At that juncture, wherever Ji Xian ventured, the thunderous tribulations would follow. Just then,